Thanks for coming out tonight. It's so great to have you all here. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media, Late Night in the Rockies. I am your host, TessaTNT, and tonight we will be joined by mother and daughter medium psychic duo, Catherine and Mea Savage. So Mea was born in an upside-down world. Her tombstone might read something like, "Try me." Multiple generations' psychic abilities stem from both sides of her family. Though she does not prefer the word medium, she is more than comfortable speaking to souls that have passed on. For almost 3 decades, she has made contact with otherworldly entities, both friendly and not quite so. Because of her array of experience, she has a very compassionate ear when it comes to the paranormal. Mea has both learned and grown with her mother, who is also a very gifted psychic. Her experiences range from human spirits to poltergeists to ETs. Her expertise is doubled when she and her mother Cathy are both involved. In addition to the paranormal, she also has a fine-tuned knowledge of astrology to help better understand her clients and their surrounding spirits. Hey, Cathy and Mea, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you guys on tonight.
Yay, so happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, Tess. Thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah, we finally got on the air. It's been crazy the last couple times.
I'm so happy for you. That's so great.
Me too. It's been exciting. Are you guys picking up on anything as far as how this could go for our crew?
Let's see. So what for? I was just going to say Saturn has gone, we were just talking about this. And so if there's been some delays with some things pertaining to work, projects or other things, could be weddings, could be whatever, it's because Saturn has been in retrograde, and Saturn is the planet that rules that. So if anybody can relate to that, I know quite a few for the past few months, things have been kind of shaky, kind of at a standstill, or you feel like you're kind of going but not going anywhere, like you're working but not going anywhere. It's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I was
just throwing that out there. So it's like we should throw a party now that Saturn is back direct, because now time to get stuff done, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to look at a few different decks of cards here just to see what's going on in the world.
I'm picking up on a male figure. And I'm seeing blue lights in the room, which is very interesting. And I'm not sure if it's a computer screen, but I just got this weird vision. And I think he's bald or doesn't have any hair, like shaved head. Uh-huh. I don't know why I'm picking up on that, but I just closed my eyes and this weird image came to me. Just kind of throwing that out there. I'm not sure if I'm tuning into somebody or someone
sounds like
I think it's a living person.
Yeah,
it's a living person. This is not somebody who's crossed. Let's see here.
Sometimes you have to sort of tune into who's here.
Yes.
I usually look at Tess first because I know that she'll be here.
Right.
So Tess, you got stuff going on at your other job or something. I was picking up you've been pretty busy lately or something, or pressed.
Yeah, I do the same thing, and I'm getting this feeling. I'm seeing this image of like somebody has tried a couple of projects that have failed. And they're on their last one, and this is their last shot of some sort of a startup.
The audience?
I don't know. It's just something that I'm picking up on. There's one product. I'm not sure if this is pertaining to that same person. I've never done this like this, so just bear with me here.
Yeah, I'm trying to dial into it a little bit.
Readings right off the bat. So
I got the letter B. I got someone's name that begins with B. And I don't know why I'm supposed to just say that. I just keep hearing it. B, B, B. It's really weird. But I'll figure it out later. It's one of those things. There's someone listening that wants to know something. Or
this could be pertaining to the same person, since you and I have that thing. So assuming that it is, somebody is waiting on this project to begin because they had a couple of failed ones. This could be projects. This could be marriages. I mean, but I feel like this is more pertaining to a startup of some type of a project, and they're on their last one, and I'm getting really good feeling, and they're actually very passionate about it, even though they're kind of hesitant because of the past projects that they've been working on. This could be pertaining to somebody with the letter B, perhaps a male, perhaps.
I think it's different. I'm sorry. I think it's different.
Do you think it's a different one? Okay.
It sounds like Kevin Ian Beagle, and he's one of my partners here on the radio station, and he does Wednesdays and Thursdays. But yes, his last name starts with a B, and the description you gave me sounded just like him.
Yeah. Huh. I see like a blue room, a computer chair, and kind of like a shaved or very, very short hair. And it's kind of in the center of the room. And I would say it's on maybe like the east side of the room, or like the east. No, I'm sorry, the west side.
There's a chair with
room.
rolling, like
yes,
that you
that's
can
what
just shove back and roll across the room.
I get weird pictures all the time, and I've used to ignore them. And at this point, I just kind of like express them as they come. But I feel like he's in a room, he's alone, he has like purple or blue, I'm seeing blue lights around him. What else am I seeing?
Well, maybe what we need to do is sort of regroup here and sort of like direct this.
Well,
so anyone out there who's listening who has a question and you want, you're hoping for an answer to, sort of like focus on the question.
Let's do a yes or no question. How about that?
And that kind of thing.
Let's do a yes or no question
kind of
first.
Group this together because, well, when you have a lot of people, I don't think you can just wide open because you and I are going to just get all kinds of scattered information, and I'm trying to like direct it. So I kind of look at it like, take a number and kind of picture, people with their questions, and we can kind of focus on one of them at a time kind of thing.
Yeah,
if you want.
And I'm sorry for starting you guys off like that. Generally, I'll ask you about your history and stuff, but I was like, I just want to know, how's the station going to go? And so far, it's been really awesome, and it's funny you picked up on...
So let's do it on the...
station, so I think you have a little bit...
Perfect.
Can I just... I think you have a little bit of the base already, and I think you're going to do a fantastic job, and you may have like a little bit of a struggle for a little while, and then I think you're going to be fine. So I'm not worried. I think the whole thing was, this is a good place for you to be.
And the most important thing is your strength. Like like you have to focus on your strength. What are you good at? What is your what is your niche? And I feel like everything when it first starts out is crazy. Like that's just the way it is. It's gonna be a little bit of an uphill battle until you make a name out there, obviously, for the station itself. So
right off the top, when I first got online here, I pulled like 3 cards for Tess, and she has it's a leadership card, a career transition card, and one that says take your power back.
No, that's what I'm saying. The strength card. So, I also got temperance.
I got all kinds of good ones. Anyways, they're all about starting a business and getting things,
I got temperance, and so that means keep your fiery nature under control, or someone needs to kind of remain balanced and objective.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes it's, how do I say it? There's some people that have a talent for pulling together people, and I think Tess is somebody that can do that really well. I think eventually you'll have like a bunch of people on this show, and it's going to be really great. I think you even have a vision like that. So
she has very good management. She has 2 like gifts. I view her as somebody who's really good at organization and management, and somebody who also has a vision, who's a visionary. I have the visionary quality, but I have like piss poor, let's be honest, management and organizational skills are... Shut up, Mom. Shut up. I mean, I always have a vision, but like, do I have organization? Not really.
Well, but you have both. Firing it in such a big energy, it's hard to contain that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was watching a reading that Mia sent me the other day from this girl, And she was just going so fast that it was exhausting
All
to listen
of her
to her.
channels were open.
And yet she was spot
Dead
on.
on.
And there were so many things that it was really a good one.
But it's
And
exhausting
I'm really
being at
particular.
that level.
And it's also really nuts to listen to if you don't really understand what's going on. So when you see readers like that, I know it seems like they've just had an awful lot of coffee or other things.
Coffee.
But what happens is that they're just wide open to all these like messages that are coming in from like the spirit realm. And
Let's talk about the different channels. The different channels.
Hold on.
So she's a clairaudient. Well, let me explain this. This is pertaining to the same thing. She's a clairaudient, so she receives messages. She hears them, right? And so you hear her constantly. I'm hearing this. And it's little bits and pieces and fragments from all of the people that she's doing readings for, which is amazing. But being that open for that long is exhausting.
Right.
It's exhausting to listen to. It's
sort of a higher vibrational level, and Mea is in that zone quite a bit. That's why it's hard to hold back when you're like that, because you've got a lot of things coming in at the same time.
I get downloads. I'm clear.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a mixture of clairvoyant. I see images, and claircognate, which is I receive like downloads of information. And so they're coming so fast. It's like a waterfall. It's like a computer, which is like downloading everything, all these different, when the computer's downloading something and it has all these files and it's like, dude, this and this and this and this. That's me. And it sucks sometimes because it's like, it's crazy.
I've known people that actually get sick from this kind of stuff. You have to be really healthy. It's sort of like your physical energy system gets overloaded. It's like a electrical circuit and putting too much energy through it. And that's what happens. And so you have to be really wary of the fact that it can actually short you out. So it takes a lot of work to learn to sort of control it a little better. But when you do that, you do kind of miss some information too. You have to sort of figure out you have to find your own way on it.
Grounding is the best, though. You have to ground yourself.
I'm a huge believer in yoga and any of those practices like Tai Chi or any of them. They are basically ways to learn to balance those channels. And
move
it's
your
kind
energy
of a whole,
around too, and
exactly.
balance your chakras
and open things and close them, and because you have like another whole level of things going on. Everybody does. It's just that it's not as cool. There's always a downside. Like for every thing that people think of as a gift, there is a negative side to that gift. It's not always all roses and flowers. Like if you can pick up on emotions, it's great when people are joyful.
Well, there are straight mediums though that
difficult.
There are straight mediums that will literally just talk to the dead, right?
Right.
And they see them. It's like they have this. There's this different like 4-dimensional realm that they meet in the middle at, and they can put themselves right there at that meeting place for spirits that have crossed over. That's not how I do it. They reach out to me and they give me pictures and they give me information, but I have yet to learn how to be like a full-blown medium as far as being in that on that fine. It's like a little I look at it as like literally like in between the 3D and the 4D realm. Like there's a little dimension right there where they meet at the gate, right? And so I have yet to figure out how to do that intentionally. But when something wants to reach out, it reaches out quick, and I get all these messages and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Like it's just interesting, different people's abilities and what channels and how they interact. Some people, they see things. They are totally clairvoyant and they can just see right in front of them exactly, like apparitions all the time and stuff. Sometimes I have that, but not when we're ghost hunting, for instance. I don't usually have that like ability unless it wants to be seen, of course.
Right.
I don't know. You have to be in a certain mental space in order to like open different channels.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I've seen my mother, for instance, I've seen her open all of her channels, and she's seen me open all of my channels at different times. There was this thunderstorm that went on in Arizona, and I called my mom. Of course, I'm like, Mom, there's this lightning. I've never seen this much rain in my area, and this was in Arizona, and I've never seen this much lightning. I've never seen this much rain, and all of a sudden, my clear audience opened up, and I'm hearing all of these voices. And I don't typically have that, but something about the energy and the electricity of the storm.
yeah,
All
it's
of a
in
sudden
the air.
I'm hearing little girls, I'm hearing people talking, like hundreds of thousands of people. I'm hearing them all at once. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine this reader who's clairaudient all the time having to
Right.
deal with that all the time, like literally hearing voices all the time.
Well, the thing is that the spirit world is on this higher level. They're like moving faster than light. And when you're picking this up, you're sort of you're picking up something that's moving really fast. And so you're catching all these glimpses of it. And it kind of raises your vibrational level too. So you can't stay like that. I mean, I was like that for a couple of weeks one time, and I thought I wanted it to stop, because I could not keep, I would pick up a book and I knew what it was going to say before I read it. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
had just
Yeah.
all
It's
kinds of things
claircognizance. I
going
get that
on.
a lot.
It was out of control, right? So, I mean, but once that happens, then you know what it is, and you can kind of work on it, But I think it's like something that, I don't know, I think it takes forever to master, and maybe lifetimes, But I was thinking, one thing I was thinking about is I kind of like to hear from people to know, when they call in for a reading, what it is that they actually want.
That's the best way to tune in to someone, is to have an actual question.
Because, no, what I mean is, because like a lot of times when I hear readers, and when I do it myself even, you
don't want someone to get the wrong
you can
message.
tell people what the atmosphere is and what's going on with them. And
True.
it's cool that you can do that. But I'm not exactly sure, it's what we were talking about. I was talking to Mea about this the other day, and I was thinking, I'm not sure, them telling me what I already know is helpful. It's cool that they can read into it, but I'm not sure that's what the whole point is of wanting to do that.
There's more than one way to do the tarot, but typically when you're using actual cards, it doesn't tell you the answers to your questions like from some god or source. It gives you your own answers from your own higher self and your own subconscious, right? So, and it can change, right? So it's like if you do a reading for someone, it says, okay, the reading is just like a mirror of their subconscious and their conscious mind together, right? And the future position is only if things continue going and you are continuously in this mindset that you're in right now. This is the probable outcome, which can change from literally hour to hour, minute to minute, depending on your attitude.
That's the other thing.
That's completely different from getting actual messages and seeing, like talking to your guides and people who have crossed over. That's kind of a different realm, I guess you can say.
Well, part of it is too, though, like if a person has a choice between two things, and I think that they want you to tell them which is their better choice. Maybe it's a hard decision they have to make. Sometimes I think the reason for the decision is so that they learn something, and it's not necessarily.
Absolutely. Well, sometimes even the spirits and the angels and your ancestors will be very quiet on a particular subject, right? Because your job as a human being is to learn the lesson, right? And this happens to me quite a bit, especially if you're trying to do like a reading on yourself, or if you're just trying to talk to your own ancestors or angels or whatever. Sometimes I've actually seen images come to me of them like holding their hands over their mouths and stuff. Like, we're not telling you jack, okay? Like, this is something we can't tell you out. You need to figure this stuff out on your own. And that happens quite a bit. And it's kind of irritating, honestly, because you want the secret, you want the answer, you want to live as a human being in your highest good, right? To your highest potential. But you have to learn these lessons because we're here on earth to learn the lessons. And sometimes even the guides won't say anything to you.
Right.
You have to
There's
learn
some
it.
sort of
You have to learn it yourself. That's their answer a lot of times. This is your own, shenanigan that you have to do and learn.
Yeah, it's all about
You're here
the experience.
For a reason.
You're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Exactly.
So sometimes maybe I think that when you read tarot cards, all you're really trying to do for somebody is help them to see exactly what the real reason is for what's going on. Like it's not so much what they should decide, but why they're having so much trouble with the decision.
Now, let me also be clear. If you're a person who is unsure about the intentions of another person, like let's say somebody around you, their behavior is confusing, the cards will always give insight as to where that person is mentally, right? And subconsciously. And if it's a matter of you're not sure if you can trust a person in your life or something like that, I think the cards are great. People who are for love readings or career readings, or for friendship readings, I think that those are great. But people always get disappointed when you're doing their readings and they're like, well, they obviously already knew everything, but it's really accurate, right? And then they're like, so, what's going to happen? And then like the devil card shows up and I'm like, well, you need to make a decision. And I'm not going to name names, but I did a reading the other day and this guy is he's at the height of his career and, he has a wife and kids and stuff. And, other women are starting to notice him because of his success. Right. And he's never, ever, and would not cheat on his wife, but it keeps popping up. Right. And, it's in the back of his mind. And so I said, I hate to say it, but in your future position, we have the devil card, which is about temptation, which is about that type of stuff. Right. That's just what's going to happen. I can't tell you what to do as far as your decision. And I didn't want to tell him this, but in the outcome, it looked like he was going to pursue it. And then I just said, now look at this. This is the Tower card. This means you're going to ruin your foundation as you know it. Even if your wife never finds out about it, something in your life is going to go to ruins. For every action, there's a reaction. There's always karma, but something is going to be taken away if you do this in the wrong way, right? If only just for your own kind of selfishness, right? And so he really took that to heart. But I'm sure if I did his reading again with that in mind, it would have had a completely different outcome because I feel like after that reading, I think I stopped him from cheating on his wife. I won't say that, but I'm pretty sure I did. I think I did. So
actually, what you did was you put him you gave him the ability to for a forethought. You gave him
back to reality. This is the reality. If you
caused him to make a decision. You caused him to make the decision before he was pushed into it impulsively, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, he knew she was coming back. It was a specific girl. He knew she was coming back.
And sometimes it's good for a person.
But I just reassured him. Yeah, he's coming back. She's coming back for sure.
And sometimes it's good for a person to just stop and recognize how lucky they are to have what they actually have, and realize how important it actually is. So that like if something tempting comes along, that they recognize that it's not worth it.
Exactly. There's a difference when everything's okay.
But they need to know that ahead of time.
No, that's the difference.
While they're out in the bar.
For him, there's a difference between like him wanting this for a carnal desire type of situation, right? It's different than if he's really, truly unhappy and really would actually consider leaving his wife without a second option.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? If he's finding himself alone and having no temptation and thinking about how miserable he is and actually pondering on the fact of not being together anymore all the time, then maybe something's wrong. But if this one, temptation comes around, he's not used to attention. He's not the best looking guy, I mean, he's extremely intelligent, but he's not used to women flinging themselves at him. But now that he's making money, of course, like they come out of the woodwork, this one specifically, and he's not used to the attention, right? And he's been married for a while, has a couple of small children. And so I brought him back to reality. I'm like, okay, is it worth it? Are you thinking about the possibility of just stepping up and leaving without another option, without, the temptation? If you aren't, if you are 100% happy, then don't consider it. It's not worth it.
Right. Are you getting what you want now? Plus, sometimes people tend to lose their ego in things and not realize that they didn't do this alone in the first place. You can lose things, you know. Anyway, I guess I won't go off on that tangent, but...
So I have an interesting story. So I don't know if I said this, but I was in Italy, a couple of times this year because I have a friend there. We have a couple of very close friends, and one of which he lives in the United States most of the time, but for tax reasons he had to stay in Italy for a year. So he's like really lonely, and he's like you guys come out, and we get start treatment there because he's like the godfather over there. But we were there, and we had a cab driver, and he was from Sri Lanka, and I just remember I didn't know anything, but apparently like his brother had just passed away 4 days prior. I didn't know this, and then he kind of went off about it. But before I even found out about it, I was seeing these like images of this palm tree and like something about when they were kids, and it was really hard because I had this spirit really desperately trying to talk to me, right? And those are the type of spirits that I'm able to communicate with. It's almost like if they have unfinished business with a family member, that's when they come to me. And I wanted to tell him something about this tree that they were at when they were kids, and something about also the kids that he left behind. But it was really hard because this guy, the living one, did not speak English. Because I see things in pictures, there was no like language barrier between me and his brother, but I couldn't tell him, and it was extremely frustrating. So I don't know where this came into everything, but then again, I went to Italy. And this guy's deceased relative, this guy that owns a pizza parlor, his deceased, I don't know, grandfather, great uncle, who knows, came and visited me. And he was speaking Italian, like yelling in Italian at me and showing me these images. And he kept saying, Di San Marco, Di San Marco. And I was like, what the hell is Di San Marco, right? So I looked it up, and I saw these images in my head of like this boat dock and everything. Well, not in my head. I was astral traveling. He came to me in my dreams. And, and San Marcos is like a church, and I looked at the images online, and it's in Venice, and I was like, oh my gosh, and that's right where this guy's family is kind of from. And it was like he was screaming at me he was stuck there, and he's like, in my dream, he was stuck there, like he was some type of a soldier or something, like in like World War II or something. It was really crazy, and like I would really like to find out how to help like the frantic, ghosts on the other side, right? Because for some reason, it's hard for me to reconnect with them. They connect with me, and then it's really hard for me to reconnect with them. So I'm asking my mother, like, how would you reconnect with them to kind of like lullify their frustration?
Well, everybody has their way of seeing things, what they believe in on this level, but usually, I believe that every spirit, even a ghost that's sort of locked into the land a little bit too much, I think even they have guidance spirits. So I sort of reach above everything. I reach above them to something higher than them.
That's what I was thinking.
To try
so should I make it specific though? Should I call it like on a particular, like an angel or like a god or something?
That's what you do. I don't
leave it open.
I look at it like there's all these levels, like a level system. So I reach for the highest thing above me to talk to the highest thing above them to try to reconcile how to help them get broken away from whatever they're caught at. Because sometimes it is that they have one frantic message, and it's keeping them from like crossing over into something higher where they have more control over where they go and things. And sometimes that is where I think that the spirits kind of can get stuck. Because what happens
That's why
is
I can't say that I'm a medium, because I don't know how to get them to cross over, or if they will cross over.
Sometimes
it's very
they
difficult
won't,
for me
because sometimes they're so locked into this like a field of emotion, like an anger or a frustration,
like an astral
that
plane.
they're not listening to you. You know, like you can't
when they're
get a
frantic
message.
like that.
Right.
Both of them were frantic. I don't know if it was just because they're Italian and they're extremely expressive. Oh no, because the first one was from Sri Lanka, but still, like they were both seemed like when they reached out to me, they were kind of almost in a frantic state.
Well,
you know,
first you
like
get a
yelling at me.
picture. First, you get a picture and you try to understand what it is that's keeping them stuck. Sometimes it's just really easy. Sometimes they have a message that they just haven't been able to deliver, and you deliver it, and that's it.
Well, the message was clearly
they're
Di
fine.
San Marco.
Yeah.
Or
well,
I should, you know what? And now that I think of it, next time I go back to that pizza place, which inevitably I probably will, I will tell that guy, San Marco.
Well, maybe. Well, you could do that.
Because he kept saying it over and over. Di San Marco is of San Marco, and then in Italian. I went deep into.
Well,
trying to
it could be. It could be that's a. You won't figure it out. That's probably means something to the guy. You know how that works. It always it's a word that would mean something to them and not you.
Always.
But
I remember one time, like my coworker, her nephew, I astraled, and I knew she didn't have a son, but I told her that this like very young, kind of like 18 to 20-year-old kid handed me a check. And it was specifically for an amount. I believe it was like, I don't know how much it was like $700. So like a specific amount. And I told my coworker about it. And she's, thank God, an open person. Right. And so she's like, wow. And he was in a coma. And I've astraled with a few people in comas before. And he was handing her a check because she had given that to her sister, his mother, for medical bills. Right. But he's like, give her this check for me. Right. But since he's still connected to the earth, it was kind of hard because he's like in a coma, like he thought he was really handing me this check, right? You work with my aunt, here, give her this check, right? Type of a situation. I'm not sure if he knew. I don't know if they know, I think sometimes they do. I think when you astral, sometimes supposedly you can look down at your body, which I don't think I've ever done that, honestly. No. I've never done that. I've never looked down at my body. Maybe a little bit once. No, usually I don't.
Sometimes I have done it, but what happens when you do it? Sometimes it does freak you out a little, and it causes you to go back. It's actually kind of difficult sometimes. But then you sort of get used to.
I'm sorry, Tess. What did you say, Tess?
I was going to say I accidentally astraled, and I was watching Glow's house while she went to California and washing her dogs for her, and was sitting there on the couch watching these paranormal shows, and all of a sudden I drifted off to sleep, I guess. I didn't realize it. And I found myself on the floor on all fours, and I'm trying to crawl around, and it's not working. I feel like I'm a really drunk baby or something. And then I turn around and I see my body, and I was having some chest pains a little earlier that night. And so I was like, oh my God, I died, So I'm trying to crawl back to my body, and I lay back in there, and I pop right up, and I'm like, holy crap, that was really scary. Like, did I die, or was that astral? Like, I didn't intentionally do it. It just kind of happened.
Mm-hmm. The first time I astraled, I was just in my room, and I went into my closet, and I did that a couple of times. And then after about the third time or the second time, I realized, I was at my window, and I'm like, now what? Because I was kind of close to the ceiling, and I'm like, well, I know I can fly. I wonder if I can go through this window. So I went through the window, and then I went into the neighbor's house and kind of just went, that's always so much fun. Like the first time you figure out how to do it, but it's so hard to do. I mean, even somebody who knows how to astral, it is hard to just do. I mean, I have not mastered it. I astral probably every night, but I don't.
I'll tell you what, when I first started knowing that I was doing that and doing that one time, I got as far as the wall of my room, and I was like, it's a wall. I can't go through it, right? So I had this argument with myself about whether or not I could go through it.
That's what I did with the window. I'm like, can I do it?
You realize that you can, but your brain, you're still kind of attached
still think you're in your body.
Thinking, and so it's kind of a funny. I know there's these really old techniques, the way that some ancient religions and stuff, one of the ways they taught people to astral was that they would not let them have anything to drink, and they would put water across the room.
I never heard that one.
because supposedly
I know the
if
scientific ones. I
if
don't know like
someone
the
is
ancient
very
ones.
if they're close to doing it, but they're not quite doing it yet, it's like it's sort of like a temptation. Even though you can't actually drink the water, it kind of is like a magnet to
Mm-hmm.
force someone to do it.
It's kind of
So
like a life
it's
force.
kind of it's kind of a weird thing.
Well, when you astral, there's
But
like the
there's like
4D
this
realm, which is like right after
techniques,
the
you know.
3D, right? There's different
Mm,
realms, right? So in the
right.
4D realm, which is close to the 3D realm, everything still looks almost the same, right? When you go into higher realms, you can be literally, I mean, I've flown in the clouds before. I've been like a superhero. I have this one astral realm where I'm like kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog. I would have this reoccurring dream about like jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge into the water and just weird stuff like that. But like on the astral realm, when you're going to do it intentionally, you're going to be closest to your body, right? Especially if you do it with intention. And the best way I think that I've tried there's thousands of techniques out there. I think that for me a really easy one is it's not really easy because I still struggle with it, doing it intentionally. We all astral, we just don't necessarily do it with intention, right? And remember, yes. But so you lay on your back and you relax and you wait until you're almost kind of at that point where you're feeling like you're asleep. And you have to kind of feel like parts of your body kind of pull out of each other. Kind of imagine your hands pulling up into the sky, your legs, your feet, your toes. But eventually when you're relaxed enough, you envision this like white rope hanging from the ceiling. And you climb up the rope out of your body. And that's the closest that technique works the best
for you
out of all of like there's like the common techniques that there are. That's the one that works for me. Sometimes.
Well, and you also have a way of like constructing it almost like it's like a video game with levels, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's it's like everybody has their own way of constructing it so that your brain can understand it, because it's just complete. There is no understanding it. It's such a different, there is no, way to actually do that. But everybody has their own construct. Like me, I see it as levels on top of levels. Like I think it's like I've been in places where I can go into a level where the place is 200 years ago, and I can see how it looked then, and then I can be standing in the same spot and go there, and it's a different time period. So it's like there's even ways to go through, like it's not just time, it's not just space. You can go
We've
through
astraled
time
together.
too.
We've astraled together, and it's very interesting how you appear to me sometimes on the astral. A lot of times I don't hear you, I don't see you, but I hear you. And a lot of times, I remember the last one, Tess, as you remember, we were supposed to go to that house, and this guy had these parasitic things, right?
Right.
And I told my mom about it, and of course I showed her the picture, and she's like, "Holy crap!" we know what those are, right? And so I was like, "I'm going to need your help." And so that night we astraled together, but the level that we were at, probably so we were at a higher kind of different dimension.
Different way of looking at it.
And I'm sure my mom was probably responsible for this, knowing her, but it could have been my own brain, who knows? But we were I know where we were. I know what we were doing. We were trying to go remove those things, right, from this guy's house. These like these fourth dimensional astral like parasites, basically. But in my dream, we were kind of like on a like, we weren't on a beach, but we were like in a beach restaurant, and I had 2 bowls of octopus, and these things on astral look kind of like a mixture between a spider and an octopus. And I just remember eating like a whole, like as much as I could eat. I'm like, I gotta eat them. My mom, of course, doesn't in real life. She hates octopus, so she's just like, I'll watch, And I didn't see her, but I heard her, and I'm like, you're gonna make me eat these alone?
I woke up thinking this exact thought. I woke up thinking, I won't eat them, but I will cut them up for you, which is terrible.
That's so funny.
It's very weird. And see, like
very strange.
That's what's so strange. Yeah.
But
The
if we
thing
would have
is,
went
it's
on the
a
40
negative
realm,
thing.
it
Like
would
a
have been
lot of
really
times,
nasty and icky
well,
energy.
and
We
the
kind of
whole thing,
created a better atmosphere.
but the whole thing is too is what you get locked into. Like if you get something that you see that scares you a lot and stuff, and sometimes you can get scared enough where you feel like you're stuck with it a little bit, or and there's lots of perspectives on that. The thing that has to happen is you almost have to you almost have to go to a different level and see it from the other side of it. It's almost like you're seeing like a mirror image of the same kind of thing. I've seen the scariest things, and then if you can find the mirror image to it, it doesn't scare you at all. It's just comical. It's like ridiculous. And I think that feeling is usually when I know I've broken free of it. Like I don't know
What are you talking
exactly.
about exactly? So others can maybe.
Well, you were talking about the parasite things. I'm just talking about negative kinds of things in general.
Oh, okay.
And especially if they have a shape or a structure like that.
Yeah. I read, and this actually seemed to work, one of the ways to get rid of, let's say you have an astral parasite, and a lot of people do have them, but are not aware of this. This is at some point in your life, probably everyone has one at some point in their life, and it drains you emotionally. They drain you physically, and they mess with your mind a little bit, and you start to get a little bit depressed, maybe outbursts of anger for no reason. And usually they feed off of, especially if you've opened up, like let's say somebody had a traumatic event recently and they had a car accident or something. And so when those types of things, they can open you up spiritually, whether you want them to or not, because that's part of our own defense mechanism. Sometimes they'll crawl in while you have these, new abilities or chakras, or they feed off your aura, right? So if your aura changes to some specific, I don't know, type of color or brightness or whatever, they feed on it, and they can really like mess with your lives, cause depression, that type of thing. But as my mom said about the mirror thing, I found out we could actually feel them, and we had one specific one, and it was feeding off of both of our energy for a couple of years. Actually, this is when we really started to open up and get into touch with other psychics and stuff to like help protect us, because this was a new thing. I mean, even for my mother, who's experienced a lot, this was a new thing for her. Definitely a new thing for me, and it
Yeah,
was really
like
bad.
my jury is still out on what that was. I know it.
I know what it was.
I know what you describe it as, and I
know what
get
it
that.
was.
I don't even like to name it,
I
but
know.
if I was
I
going
know
to
what it
draw
was.
it, or if I was going to describe it to people, that's what you say is what I would describe it as. It's
Yeah,
sort of
kind of
like
like
a very small. It's not a human spirit.
it's kind of a
But
prickly feeling on your
but
face and your
it's
head for
something
some.
like
It can be on other parts of the body, but because that's where our crown chakras are, it was
it's
doing
like a
that to us.
blob of negative something, and you can feel it when it comes around you. You can feel it. But
Like a little mini vacuum tentacles, like
if
sucking
you're
out your
really
energy.
tired, it's really hard to make it go away, and it gets really annoying after a while. And I've never seen anything like that until
But it was never on
I
both
don't
of
know
us
when
at the
it
same
was.
time.
No,
I
it
think
was
it
going
just
back and forth. It was
and it was
terrible.
making it stronger because it was feeding off of both of our energies, right? So it couldn't be on us at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we were both battling it, but it was feeding off of both of our kind of like energy. So for a while,
Mm-hmm.
the thing got pretty strong
But
for a
what I
while
would
there. But if
say,
you wear mirror, but you said about the mirror though, I just wanted to say that, like, if you wear really bright jewelry, almost like a mirror, it
mm-hmm,
doesn't like to look at itself, and if it'll see it on some realm. This is really weird.
mm-hmm,
It is the absence of light, right? And so if you wear like something really bright, it's in your energy field, it sees itself and it doesn't want to feed on itself, right? Because it's stupid. It doesn't have a brain, right? So it's just
mm-mm.
like, that's not my food, right? And it goes away. And I've done this. I didn't learn this till way later, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like some trick that I had learned. Most people don't know anything about parasites, and we wouldn't never
All
have
I
known
know
about
is,
it except for we experienced it.
is that after we moved, it was gone, and I thought,
Oh yeah,
I still
that was
think back,
partially the
and I
house.
remember how bad that was, and I still absolutely couldn't tell you how that happened, or why it was like that, but I know
Why
that it
don't you
was
tell the
there.
listeners? Why don't you tell the listeners what was in my room as a child before we got the house? Before you were maybe right after you purchased that house. I'm
No,
not
I
sure.
really, you know what? I'd rather not. I don't
Okay.
even want to remember that
Okay.
too well. There was something. I bought a house, and um,
And I was a child.
somebody snuck in and was staying there before I moved in. So when I first went back to the house to get ready to move in, there was a lot of really strange stuff in the house.
In my room.
In particular in her room.
Which I didn't find out till later, but there was
I didn't think about it
some type
very
of a
hard.
vortex that was
Yeah,
open.
somebody had been doing something they shouldn't
There
have
was
been.
clippings of people's hairs with candles and weird writing and stuff.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there was just some stuff.
But my mother told me there was a hobo in the house, and she was very quiet about it until I was much, much older. Actually, until just a few years ago.
That's what I thought.
Well, that would have helped.
And we were there for a little while, and then all of a sudden, I mean, here's the basic story. I guess I should say this. So we moved in the house, and we were there for maybe a year or so. And all of a sudden, some strange things started to happen, and I started having a lot of trouble sleeping. There was something, and I could only describe it like a magnet, and it was.
And then there was
bugging
Calvin.
Me and
there was
bugging
the ghost
me.
I called Calvin.
And
also.
hold on, and I didn't say anything to Mia about it, but I was literally like sleep deprived. I couldn't figure out what it was. I had all kinds of strange astral dreams, and I was fighting it. And then I noticed Mia was really tired too. and basically we figured out that we had both been having this problem for like weeks. And I think we had it for months. I've heard people call in to test, shows and stuff and talk about things like this. So I know there's people out there that know what I'm talking about. And then we started trying to figure out how to get rid of it. So we started doing some work together to try to get this gone, and it worked out. But then we had all this really good energy in the house, and I was having just all kinds of experiences, and I was a very serious person. I didn't even drink at the time or anything like that, so it's not that kind of stuff. But
and at that time I was way too young. There was a ghost I named Calvin that I saw like a writing on the wall. He had a top hat, and I would make jokes with my friends when they came over that because he would turn on my stereo. I don't think that he was a negative part of the negative experience. I think there was like kind of a vortex. Mm-hmm. And for a while there was who I called Calvin. And I remember that at a young
something
age,
went wrong in our house. That's all I can say. So we had trouble with it for a very long time, and then a lot of bad things happened to me and to Mia, and but we finally moved, and ever since we moved out of the house, I haven't had any of that. It's been very nice and peaceful and quiet.
Except for the astral parasite came from something else. I had a boyfriend who had a family curse and kind of like some weird Aztec stuff. And what I've read, and if you do research online about astral parasites, I didn't find this out till years later, that it was connected to that kind of.
Right. So I don't know. It seemed like once one
because
thing
it did
happened,
follow.
everything happened.
That's the only really negative experience that happened after we both moved from that house. But
it didn't happen to you, not me, though. My house was fine because you had a different
attached
house
to me. Exactly. I had my own place, so it lasted.
But the thing is, it seems like when a person gets in a really bad situation like that, it's because one thing will start the spiral, And then the next thing you know, you have the whole gamut of all kinds of different problems.
It's like the portal is opened. So it wasn't just like a ghost was haunting our
it's like
house.
something negative just starts.
Open.
You have one problem after another, and it comes in all these
the
different
extraterrestrials.
forms.
Remember that when we went to the UFO meeting?
Yeah, we weren't sure what was going on.
That was a whole different.
I was exploring all kinds of ideas because it got to a point where I knew there was something just not right. And I know one of the things that had happened, I mean, to be practical, one of the things that happened is they built a very large power electrical station not far from our house, right at that same time. And there was a
ley
water,
lines.
There's ley lines there, and there was a water, like a water, I don't know what you call it, a very large main water source that went through our yard. And I almost, there's plenty of explanations I could give, but I never really settled on this is what caused the problem. I just think it was just a combination of things, right? But because of that, and for a while there, I was really getting concerned. I mean, honestly, I was so sleep deprived, and I was getting afraid. I personally was afraid because I would lay down, and all of a sudden, I would feel this thing. It was like it was trying to pull me out of my body, like it was just a huge, like a magnet.
And I remember that. That's how it would do it.
If I left my room, it would not be. I would have to leave my room and go farther away, and it would be gone. So it was, it was in a certain part of my house. And, I really haven't ever, I don't really want to know what it was. All I wanted to know was how to make it go away. That was what I worked on, and I learned to fight it off before we moved. I knew how to do that.
A lot of it was, I think it was a portal that was open. So I really think that in that house, somebody went in there, opened a portal, and one thing led to another. And maybe. Literally, I think that's what it was, because it wasn't a ghost. There was a ghost. The first thing I noticed when I was a kid was Calvin.
I saw 3 of them in the house.
That's true.
More than
Remember
that.
the little girl?
On more than one occasion.
Do you remember the little girl? But that was connected to an object. I had gotten a bass guitar from a pawn shop as a gift.
That was something else. That was different.
No, I know that was different. But still, my room, I swear because the portal was there, I went out of my room, saw this little girl crying right by this bass guitar, right? She was on her hands and knees crying, and I went to my mom's room, snuck behind her. I pulled my mom aside, opened the door. My mom saw her too, and she was still sitting there. And the first thing she said was like, "Damn it, Kevin!" he has this habit of picking these like objects and instruments that have that.
Yeah, I've learned to be wary sometimes of things that are used that might have had a lot of meaning to people and stuff. Sometimes you really you don't know what you get, but yeah.
Yeah, watch out for eBay. Just kidding.
It was almost like the level of that. Level of that house. Something allowed that stuff to be able to happen more often than it normally would anywhere. I've had 2 different places that had problems. I had a house years and years ago that had a ghost in it, and I had roommates at the time, and we were like. Nobody said anything about it, but these weird things would happen. Like something would move and nobody knew how it happened and whatnot. And then one day we finally, it's like it happens for a while and nobody wants to be the one to say something. So one day we're in the kitchen. This is after, a few months. Everybody's kind of and I woke up twice where this ghost guy tapped me on the arm and woke me up. And he was a younger guy, and I had a feeling he had died in a drowning or something. And he was trying to talk to me, but he couldn't talk, he was silent. So he woke me up a couple times from sleeping, and I got where I yelled at him. I said, "Don't do that." I don't like it. So one day we were all in the kitchen anyways, and we're talking, and one of the guys says, something wrong with this house, and he starts saying something, and all of a sudden the light above us just exploded. It was one of those, long ceiling lights, with the big bulbs, and it exploded. And then we had another problem in the kitchen. And I finally sort of like talked to the thing and I said, listen, I know you're here, you live here, but you're scaring people, and this particular ghost was pretty mellow. I don't think he was out to hurt anybody. He's just trying to get attention. And he went away. I mean, I got him to go away. I did my thing and I didn't see him after that. So I'm hoping. I mean, I never can be really sure that that's what happens, but I didn't have any problems after that. So
I really
I've
hate
had that's two houses like that. I'm sorry, Tess, go.
I really hate to interrupt, but we do have to go to our first commercial break, so you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for listening tonight. Tonight we have Cathy and Mea Savage, mother and daughter psychic duo. Welcome back, guys. It's been great having you on and hearing your experiences.
Thank you, Tess. We're having fun.
We're getting a little far out there. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to try not to be quite so fragmented for everybody. Sometimes it's like we share these thoughts, and so she'll say half and I say half, and nobody knows what we're talking about.
And we forget that. And it's like, it's kind of like if I tune into something, then she tunes into it, right? And like you said, everything's kind of amplified and vice versa. And that happens quite a bit. And so as we were saying on the break, I feel like somebody sprayed lavender. And I smelled it, and not only did I smell it, I saw it. It was into the air. It was like a lavender spray. And then my mom started smelling it. It was just very interesting. I'm like, who's
I keep feeling it, like it got spritzed, like that nice feeling you have when somebody spritzes something at you. It's really strange. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there's no one here right now, so this is all. It's coming from Mea. That's another weird thing. It's like you can tell when something's like there's something if a spirit shows up in my room, it's different than if it shows up to Mea. But I can a lot of times sort of see what she's seeing. It's almost like I'm standing behind her and I can see the thing that she's talking about.
It's kind of just a weird telepathic thing, too.
It's why we know we're not that nuts, because this is not, you can't do that normally with people, and you know,
without being intoxicated.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I didn't always really,
right about that.
I mean, when you know something before it happens, and those kinds of things used to always happen to me, but I would never have talked about it until I realized that we're both doing these things. And there's not, we don't live in the same house. It's not like that. It started, I think, years and years ago. One of the first things that happened is that I remember one time I suddenly felt like I had hit my head, and I was really worried about Mea. And then she came home and she had done something where she hit her head on something.
I hit my head a lot. Not that that's probably not.
But
no, really,
to me, it was really exaggerated. Like when something happens to her, it could be the smallest thing, and it's so exaggerated. I always have to send her a note going, what happened? Because even if she would have like a small cut, to me, the way that I would perceive it is like there's blood everywhere. It's just like really strange.
Happens. I think this is not like necessarily...
just to make sure it's not huge,
I don't think it's necessarily just a psychic thing. I think like a mother-daughter thing also is. And Tess can probably attest to that you have like a sixth sense when it comes to your kids,
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know when they're up to shenanigans too.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of stuff.
Sandra in the chat room was saying that we have a little group on Skype, and I guess they were talking about lavender earlier, so that's pretty interesting.
Oh.
Did someone spray it? Because I smelled it and I saw it. This could also be, if it's four-dimensional, and just the conversation too. I mean, it was like I was surrounded in lavender, though. That's interesting.
That's funny.
Very
Maybe they
relaxing.
all were talking about. Yes, very.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are Sagittarius, so supposedly lavender is like one of your fragrances. I don't know where I read that, but supposedly, according to some sort of like a
maybe we need to focus on the person with the lavender. Maybe that's the reason, huh? Well, I know it's a girl. It's a lady. It's a woman.
Obviously. Yeah, Sandra, and then whoever she was speaking with, obviously.
She's old. She's not older, but probably like in her 40s.
I see blonde hair.
You do?
I see blonde hair. Yeah.
See, I'd say brown.
Like light color.
Well, we have a call from an area code 610. Who are we talking to?
There's Christopher.
Hey, Christopher. How's it going?
Going all right. I had to prepare a little bit for a question I want to ask.
Absolutely.
Cass, you can tell them a little bit about the experience we had if you want to.
I'll
Okay.
leave that to you. You go right on ahead.
It woke up the entire neighborhood. Me and Tessa had the exact same experiences at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah?
We were talking about our country of nationality
Mm-hmm.
and family history.
Mm-hmm.
And things started staticky, and our stuff was going to crash. And our dogs started going nuts because they were seeing a cat, the same cat that Tessa sees in her home. And then they went outside and broke a few things in our house, dogs. And then it woke up a rooster. It was like a chain reaction.
Sounds like my house.
Yeah, I listen to the animals when they start acting strange, especially if they act strange.
Animals can astral as well. And I'm not particularly a cat person, even though I have one. I feel that, and I know this is a fact, as they say, the cats are half in and half out. Like they're it's a known fact that they're hallucinating most of their lives, but is it really hallucinating, right? That's the question. Because, dogs, they sense things. Cats, they really sense things, right? Like, cats freak out at night, not just because they're nocturnal, but their senses are at an all-time high. So maybe the cat astraled to you somehow and riled up the dogs. That's a possibility. You said that this cat, you saw the same cat that Tessa saw, right? Or that Tessa has.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. So I feel like maybe a line of communication. I've heard there's this legend that cats protect their owners, and that's why, like, witches or whatever, they have cats. Blah-diddy-blah. I don't really believe in necessarily any of that, but I do think that our animals kind of protect us, right? So maybe Tess was there too on the astral, and her cat was with her. That's another possibility.
And what we were talking about was my ancestor, Edward I of Great Britain, King of Wales and Scots. And I have a suspicion that he's a common ancestor to Tessa, too, because things got really crazy after a conversation.
Wow.
And what was interesting as well, me and Tessa transcended right near when we acknowledged that we have a connection, we transcended to accept that. I wrote this phrase in Latin, and she knew what I was saying.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really freaky.
She knew the phrase too. She knew the phrase.
Yeah, Tessa said we're part of a large family. Like I translated the same thing, and she got the same answer too.
Huh.
Wow.
Is the cat a real cat or a cat that is passed on, like cat?
Are you talking
passed on?
Yeah, it's a ghost cat.
Oh, really?
It's the one in your
apartment. Because I was wondering why a live cat would astral there unless you were with the cat, right? That was my theory.
Is it a coat?
Okay, I can see it. It's kind of just like dashing
Yeah,
around. It's very
weird. It's a cat you used to own, huh?
I didn't recognize
it
when it was there in my house. It was a black cat. I didn't have one at the time, but it reminded me of one I had in the future, but I think it kind of came with the house. Or was following me or something. But yeah, I almost stepped on it a couple times and it run off, and I looked for it everywhere. I couldn't find it. One time it ran and jumped behind the couch and it wasn't there. Like, I looked all over that house and there was no cat to be seen.
Oh, wow.
It's very possible. I actually saw a ghost dog of a dog that had passed a couple years here. A little bear, you know him, Mom. I saw him tonight, and I don't typically see, like, I see images, like claircognate images, but I saw him with my eyes, and I told Ross, and I was like, I just saw a little bear outside, like literally just sitting. I saw his ears. He's a corgi. He has very distinct ears, and I saw him outside, and so he's still very much hanging around. Now, if we moved, right? He would probably still be there. Also, cats, though, that might be some sort of. I feel like people can take also different forms, but people can also take different forms on the astral. So, aside from it being a cat spirit, since you guys have a common connection of family ties, this could have something to do with maybe your lineage. This could have some sort of symbolic thing with your lineage, or it could have been a cat from your, family's ancestors, that type of stuff. I 100% believe that would be possible as well, since you both saw the same one.
I think it was hanging out with Tess. It's probably part of the territory of her where she lives.
But they don't live in the same place. So I'm wondering what the connection is.
What interests me more is the Latin phrase.
Because you want to hear it?
I'll tell you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can pronounce it almost perfectly.
Yeah.
Questa Buonico Familia Majoro.
And what does it mean? Do you know?
Seeking family?
Your family, but that's the catch, because family is accented. It changes the declension. It means royal household.
I knew someone that did this once. There's people that think about doing this where they think, and I believe this is true, that people kind of reincarnate around the same people, and you do run into people, right? 100%. And so what I think sometimes happens is that there is a how do I say it? It's meant to be a sign. Like, it'll be something you see or something you hear, soulmates. And all of a sudden you know that you're safe with this person, and that and it changes everything.
Your soulmates. You have a soul tie that could be from families.
Right.
Or from your ancestors.
Right.
Well, okay, so like how I met my significant
for some
other.
Reason, hold on, let me finish. For some reason, I think that phrase actually did that. Like, somewhere in your heart of hearts, that reminded you and Tess that you knew each other before, and everything's cool, and it's something that happens so fast that your brain doesn't quite get the whole. I mean, it's not like in your head, you remember everything. It's not like that. It's just that you feel it usually, and it's a big deal. It was sung to me a couple weeks ago. It's a big deal because it doesn't always happen. Like, I've had it happen a few times where you meet someone and you don't know them at all, but you know that you know them.
Yeah.
You know that you've known them before, and right from the second you talk to them like your best friend or whatever. Or it can go the other way, like there's an animosity and you don't know where it comes from.
So,
but it's sort of like, I think sometimes there's these little, symbols.
So this is very interesting. So my significant other, I was told by my deceased relatives that the reason why we met is because my deceased relatives and his deceased relatives pushed us together.
That's true.
And my mother was there. She knows.
I know it was true.
He had a brother that died when he was a kid, an older brother that died when he was a teenager. And my mother met him, and I met him, and this was, crazy. And then he starts laughing, right? And he's still kind of a teenager type, but kind of a wise teenager.
Is a spirit,
in the afterlife.
By the way.
This is a spirit. And he starts laughing, right? Because he says that my deceased father and grandfather were talking to, basically they had talked to each other and met each other before me and my significant other had met. They pushed us together, right? And what's even crazier is when on the reality level, I was talking to my significant other, and his great grandfather was very good friends with Will Rogers, who I am related to, right? He's like an old cowboy kind of comedian type guy. Really cool. So I found out through my ancestry that I am related to Will Rogers, and he knows for a fact that his great-grandfather or great-great or whatever was friends with Will Rogers. He knows, he has all these stories that were passed down
like
about them.
Yeah.
Like they were friends. And I almost was scared. I'm like, I hope we're not related. You know, no, I'm totally kidding for a minute there. Like, because there's a lot of, you know, generations between that. But it's very interesting how people with similar family lineages, not only that, people who are attracted to each other, not just, I'm not talking about like romantically, but just as people. How, like my mother was saying, how you feel a comfort in someone. Part of it is a soulmate, but can you be a soulmate from your ancestry? I feel like that's how soulmates are sometimes created. Kind of. It's like through time, right? So you have all of these ghosts around you, right? You have your guides, your ancestors, and so does everybody else, right? So I don't like to be in big crowds because it's not just the crowds, it's all their ancestors. So Tessa's ancestors and your ancestors are either the same or related in some way down the line. So you were pushed to talk to each other, right?
Yeah, I think I was pushed because tonight I dozed off before the show. And I was woke up by somebody telling me, Chris, get up. Making me come in here.
And what's really funny is the name Chris, like literally popped into my head a while ago. That was one of the first things. And I don't know why it popped into my head, but I thought it was related to someone that I know. And I'm like, no, why am I thinking about Chris? And then that's very interesting. So
now
I
you know
something.
Yeah, I'm part of Tessa's family line. Now you know it's related to someone you know. Me.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes it's really strange. I remember when Mea finally, when she met the person that she's with at the moment,
Don't say it that way.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way.
No, you said it like at the moment.
I was thinking I wasn't.
What do you think I am, some kind of floozy?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way.
I know.
I was thinking about two things at the same time when I said that. What I was trying to say is that Mia's dad passed away a number of years ago now, but he visits me all the time. And one of the things that was really funny is that I had this sort of conversation with him one time, and he was showing me all the work that goes into trying to get two people together or to manipulate things with humans. It's like when things happen, a lot of times there are a lot of forces at work trying to get, like if you get a new job, the spirits around you are actually working for you to get something sometimes. And it's kind of
or
funny.
Not the opposite, or not go into a situation.
Maybe, and I'm not going to say it's true of every situation, but there's certain things that work like that. And anyway, there's the divine order. Funny.
There's the divine order, right? But then there's
it was like trying to.
Helpers. Everyone has these guides and helpers and ancestors around
them.
It's
that are
like
not necessarily
one of them angelic or God. They are, or whatever your belief system is. And some people may disagree, but just like my mom said about my father, he showed me what it was like to die, okay? Because I was curious. And so, of course, he's like, let me show you, right? So I astral and I die and I see my mom and she's really sad, but I don't feel any emotion. And I'm up in the sky and I'm looking down. I'm like, sorry, Mom. And then, like, there we go. There's your dream. That's how you die. That's what happens when you immediately die, right? But he shows us stuff. He shows us stuff because we're in connection with him and some of our other ancestors that have passed. They show us things from the other side, right, of how things kind of work. And that's one of them. Like you meet people sometimes because you're
right. This is what I was going to say.
Yes.
So the picture you get is that this deceased ancestor is running back and forth between these two people going, hey, why don't you go to the store over here, and trying to get them to both like do the same thing at the same time and stuff. And it's really funny because it can exhaust
That's like
them.
you waking up. That's like you waking up. They're like, wake up, Chris.
Right.
Like
it was a male voice.
Right.
It kind of depends how resistant the person is to like the influence of the spirits, because they can't make you do things, right? They're just going to whisper in your ear.
It's great when you have two
say,
that are disagreeing.
They're going to say, you may not want to go there right now. And, like, the extent to which you pay attention to that is,
Sometimes
how
they
well it
disagree,
actually
though.
works. But it's
Sometimes
fun.
they disagree. Like when RJ and Roger disagree on
suppose.
something or someone, that's when it gets complicated, right? And that's
No, because they don't show up. I never see, like, when they disagree, they don't show up together. That's all. But they both could give their input.
Their input.
I really don't ever experience that where I feel
I do.
they're disagreeing.
Oh, I do.
I have had an incident on the astral one time where one of my relatives literally, I was someplace they didn't want me to be, and they grabbed me by the arm and yanked me away out of the situation, like just fast,
Wow.
So I've had that happen before. Well, this same relative, one time I was actually physically driving and something happened, and something grabbed the steering wheel and stopped the accident. And I know it was this particular relative. But that's because the relative I'm talking about, his whole thing in life, he was an airline pilot. So he was all about driving and airplanes. So when he has a certain way of talking.
Never been in an
He has a
accident.
language that he talks to me with. And well, don't say that, but it's true. He does help. He does definitely helps, but he has his own way of telling me things. I'll see things in terms of traffic jams and traffic lights and
parking space is my favorite.
If something is in a lower level, we're driving in the back of a taxi cab, and if it's really great, we're on like a jet. I mean, it's very strange.
Wait, are you talking about on the astral?
Yeah, I'm talking about the astral.
Or are you talking about? Okay,
it's a language that he has.
I feel like
I've been really fortunate because he's more clear than a lot of spirits as far as being able to give me a message.
Yes.
It's Roger. Different. Yeah.
Yeah, I have something to share with that too. Mm-hmm. Last Sunday, I was on a different radio show, and I had a reading to me. And it was like said that I'm back with the family, and also told me eventually I'll learn about my country of ancestry and probably go to it. Mm-hmm. It was really uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like a couple days before my family took got their DNA test results back. Oh. And the majority of our ancestry is Welsh, just like Tessa's is.
Mm-hmm. Was it surprising, or was it what you thought it would be?
I'm not surprised because I did it the hard way through government records, and it went back to Edward I.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
Birth and baptismal certificates, official records, immigration, a whole bit, the hard way.
See, that's funny because Mea's Scotch-Irish too. I'm not, but as far as I know, my background's pretty strange, family-wise. But
and that phrase that I was told was used among monarchies and stuff. And interestingly, on my bio mom's side, I have connections to Grimaldi and Bourbon. Them. Mm-hmm. And so they're like related to Edward by his second wife.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a family crest?
I have the George family crest, and I have the one for the British royalty. I have them in my research. I have both in my line. I can wear either one.
So do you think that this causes you a little bit of a conflict in your current life?
No, not really, because I met my bio family when I was 25. I was in a home. I'm disabled, and they met me then.
Mm-hmm.
And my birth mom allowed me to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have no conflict.
Okay.
That's good.
And
I feel like. Go ahead.
I have a feeling I'm going to end up going back to explore and find living relatives. It's really weird.
Oh, yeah? Well, sometimes it's, when you go places
You just meet them sometimes
abroad
because
and
of
stuff.
that.
Well,
You realize how small the world is
Mm-hmm.
when you go places abroad.
Sometimes when you go to a smaller country, too, you find that you're, like I've heard there's like a town in, I think, France where there's quite a few people with my name in it. So, and part of my
Which
family,
is what I found
guess, is from
out,
there.
which is odd, Mom. I
So-
found this out. I just have to say this. Okay, so I looked
It's
up our last name. It
funny
comes
that
from
way.
the French side, right? And only 3% of people with our last name come from the French side. A lot of it comes from like England and other places, but we don't necessarily have that lineage to my knowledge, right? And so I found it very interesting that only 3% of people with our last name, and I think that's because when they moved to Canada, like the French Canadians, then the whole thing with the natives there. I really think that's the origin.
Actually, I found relatives of I found relatives on my dad's side that were, I am pretty sure they were Canadian Indians, like Canadian not Native Americans, but Native Canadians.
Native Canadians.
Oh, we're called First Nations, the Canadian term.
Oh, are
Yes.
they? Okay.
Thank
we
you.
haven't looked much into it, but I'm pretty sure that's where the last name actually comes from, because only 3% of the French carry that last name. The rest, the other, there's a lot of people with our last name, but a lot of it is not French, right? A lot of it is English or Irish, and there's no English or Irish on that side, which is very interesting, which makes me think it comes from that.
Well, I know for sure they're from Canada, but the problem is that we've got some people that think they came from France and other people that are saying that they were native to Canada. And I kind of think it's both. I found so many names from my family that were in like a Trail of Tears roster that I feel like I need to research that better, because I have like great grandparents.
It's always good to look up your ancestors.
Their names were all.
Which roster? A Baker roster?
I don't know.
Or Asher?
Oh, you know more about this than I. Yeah,
you know way more than you.
Because I have Asher in my bloodline on my mom's.
Oh, so you know about that. Yeah, I don't know very much about it, so I couldn't tell you which one. I just found them listed, and they ended up being taken to Michigan or something, and they were on a roster. So.
Oh, the other thing I need to tell you about the Canadian First Nations groups, some of them were forced out and put in residential schools.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that was part of the. Yeah, there's this hard time period where nobody in my family seems to know what happened. There's a period of time where there's a gap there, right about there. So I don't know if they were moved and they were part of that or not, but it kind of looks that way. Do you know what
your blood type and stuff is?
No.
Because that can help you in determining if you're French, if your family name is French and stuff, because it's different. If you're not sure, you have to basically go down to that and find, because different countries have different halotypes and blood types.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that. I have thought about doing the ancestry thing and trying to find that out. We will do it one of these days, because I've heard it's really wonderful. I'm glad you got to do that. Was it worth it? You guys did that, right?
Yeah, it was. I'm doing my own. I'm waiting for my own results. I'm waiting.
Would it be very different for, like, say, a brother and a sister? I mean, if one person did it, wouldn't that be enough to get all the information for everybody?
Yes, most of the time. For genealogy, it's good, but if you want to get even more specific to actually, like what I'm talking about, determine if you're First Nations or French,
Uh-huh.
You have a 1 in 4 chance of not showing up.
Oh, I see. So you kind of got to do more. Okay.
Yeah, and my recommendation to that is for that kind of testing is MyHeritage.
Uh-huh.
They go into more specific through maternal and paternal bloodline, and they can test for sibling matches.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more markers than Ancestry.com.
So I think I think it's interesting how that relates to sort of like your the past life situation, because I don't think those two things are exclusively, I don't think they're different. I think people are kind of born in the same group of people, but people maybe switch places,
Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, I don't know, but it seems like that. Even like where you live as a region, the people in your town may have been in another town that you lived in a long time ago and stuff. So, I mean,
I believe in that for sure.
It's kind of an interesting,
like if you've met somebody and you feel like you know them already, I feel like a lot of that has to do with the other thing is you can also meet people on the astral level before you meet them in person. I've had dreams where I remember
I think you do that
I've gone into job interviews.
People do it more
no,
than
everyone
they think
does.
They do. Yeah.
More than they think that they do. The brain is so much, and not just the brain, but the astral body, the soul, whatever, is so much more than we, really like to explore. But I know that I've looked into jobs that I was going to go into in a job interview, and I didn't like it when I went there on the astral, so I didn't go. If I had, I've done that before. I've met people where I've actually wrote down exactly what they look like on a piece of paper and then never met them in my life. And 2 weeks later, I meet them. That same person.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you've got especially if you're like a nervous for some reason about going someplace different or strange, I think people do tend to like go there on the astral first. That's why you get a bad feeling. I think that's actually why sometimes you'll get a bad feeling like I shouldn't go here. It's because you already went there on the astral, saw something you didn't like, and it registers with you. Like you actually know already that it's not a good idea.
Oh my gosh. I astraled to Britain when I found out the family history. I went and looked around to see which the place has similar feeling to the U.S. right now. Very ugly, intense.
Yeah.
Wales really is not so bad. Yeah, Wales is not so bad. But another place I've been traveling to, and this on my mother's side, Monaco, that place feels nice.
Monaco?
Where Princess Grace Kelly was from.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful place. It looks gorgeous. It's kind of interesting.
I'm drawn there for some reason.
Well, if you want to go there on the astral again, one thing is not eating or drinking too much right before bed. I've noticed that sometimes helps is not eating or drinking too much. Wait a couple hours before you go to bed, which is really hard for me because I just binge all night, but
I'm the same way.
Yeah. If you want to do it with intention, and it's not going to hinder you completely. I've astraled plenty of times on a full stomach, so I've been told that, and I've personally experienced that. But set the intentions, even maybe write it down, or just keep track of it in your head.
Right before you go to
where
bed,
you want to go.
Pictures.
Right before you go to go. Yes. Yeah. And then right when you wake up, make some kind of like an intention to remember your dreams as well, because we astral all the time. Yes, some of our dreams are from our subconscious, but I feel like most of the time we do astral different places. It's connected to the subconscious. It's different dimensions of the subconscious, but you can usually tell the difference. If it's a really weird dream, then it's typically a dream. That's how I notice it. If there's like symbols in it, like snakes are a very common one, certain things that you don't normally dream about, it's symbolic. It's your subconscious talking to you. But if you go somewhere and you talk to people that you don't know and you feel like you're you're there on some level, it's typically an astral dream. Like you said, you've astraled to part of your history, but you can intend and don't give up. That's the other thing. Like, continuously think about setting intentions of, I want to go there. Maybe even get specific and say, I want to go visit that place,
You get, do you get a sense of why I'm drawn to Monaco? When I go there, I feel like I'm home and I don't want to leave.
Probably because you've been there before, like maybe on the astral, or it's a sense of familiarity because your ancestors who are looking after your well-being they're from those places, so they may have shown you those places, and you can even talk to them and say, I wouldn't suggest talking to them out loud in front of others, but
I know.
But
I think something is going on with symbolism. I think that you're seeing symbolism of royalty in Monaco, and the symbolism is drawing you, but I don't think that you actually have the context with that place.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
You know what's weird?
Sense?
Everything I remembered,
Mm-hmm.
I was freaked out because it matched exactly what was in the newspaper a month later about the condition of one of the properties I went to.
You astraled there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And then you went there and it looked the same? Is that what?
The same, and the conditions of the place I was at match exactly a news article.
The energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even condition, the place was abandoned for a cat crap and everything.
So
it was.
You were going to go there, and then it was on the news?
Yeah, one of the houses there. It was on the news. The prince bought the property back into the family a month later, and I didn't know this.
And where is this?
He bought a place in Monaco and another, and his mother's girl who was home in Philadelphia, he bought them back into the family, the houses.
I see.
And even the condition of the home with the furniture being covered up, everything, it was exact image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's always crazy when that happens. He astraled there, Mommy. He astraled there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's the history
of...
I don't know what the history of Monaco is. I thought it was French. Is it French?
Yeah, his mother lived in Philadelphia until she was 26. Prince Albert.
Yeah, but you're drawn to the property.
Yeah,
for some reason.
I went and took a look at the property for some reason. That's his mother's house, Prince Kelly's.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, I went to where she lived for the rest of her life, the Palace of Monaco, and it matched exactly what I seen. The pool, and I didn't know the pool was real until I watched it on CBS this March.
Maybe you're drawn to her. It could be also the person. You said that passed?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the property, though.
I think it's the property, too, but since he went to different places, I feel like, and everyone astrals,
well,
they
maybe
just don't remember. And the fact that
there.
you're consciously aware of it is awesome. He's either been there before or he's drawn to it in some way. His soul is drawn to it. I think he might be drawn to it because he's astral there before, and unconsciously he probably remembers it from astraling there before, and maybe before that, if you believe in past lives, or it could just be ancestors.
I guess, I would wonder
that live there.
How far?
Yeah, I think I was there 2 lives ago.
Well, it could if your history, if you were in Scotland. He's very specific,
2 lives
If you were in Scotland, it's very possible, like they used to go on, travel to places for the summer and things like that. It's possible that was like a place that you have been in the past as a vacation.
Yeah, the cousins.
So you have that idea of it, you know what I mean? So you're seeing it from the point of view of a place to go visit for fun.
And the cousins of the Mountbattens and Georges still go to Monaco for vacation to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, it's probably somewhere in a history book, like where it was common for them to go to. Like in England, I think they would go to the country or to France or to whatever, and that's way back in the day before, you know, before cars and airplanes even. So it would make sense to me because it's a beautiful place. It can't, you know, it's probably been always a place where people have gone, you know, as a dream vacation, probably for a long time.
I'm feeling like a lot of people around me, and by people I mean like literally deceased people, like the little kid in The Sixth Sense. I see dead people, and I feel like they're all around me. But I really
weird.
do. I feel like
that
you
just
have
happened?
a large family. Yes. They're not
Yeah.
my aunts. They
They
might
just
be,
showed up.
you know, from my
Yeah.
Scottish lineage too. But all of a sudden, I feel like I'm just surrounded,
Like a big
and it's like
family,
a
yeah.
crowd, like a big crowd. So I
It's a
feel like
family.
somebody has a large amount of people.
Oh, they want you to know you.
Large family?
Oh, they want you to know you have a
They're
family.
a big one.
That's what that phrase means.
Count them.
That's funny. It's cute.
And you know what's interesting?
And something about red. They're wearing red. I'm not sure what that is alluding to, but I feel like I keep seeing kind of like a red, maybe like a red jacket or something. One specific man. It's a man in a red jacket. And I'm not sure what the other ones are wearing, but they're like, just feel like a whole group of people. And they must be connected to you. Because
I saw this. I've seen this.
They're very
before.
cool, but they're not my tribe.
And you know what else I saw in this dream about Monaco? I was wearing a reddish maroon velvet garment. I was in the pool area. It was within the last 60 or 70 years. Recent.
Wow.
And
yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
And I had embroidered on me a coat of arms, which is Caroline's coat of arms. I looked it up. The red on top, but red on the left, blue on the right, on the top, a sinister with the gold lion, with black background, and a white border, and this bottom half, blue on the left and red on the right. And
interesting.
That is, I had to research that. That's part of a George family line as well, from Germany.
I see a male figure that's wearing like a coat. It has red on it. I can't see details, but it's showing
look
me
like a hoodie.
I can't.
It's a jacket.
It just looks like a jacket. It just looks like a jacket to me. But all I see.
These are people. I got it. These are people that were in there. It's a Scottish family. And
they're really cool. Like
I'm not going to say they're not like upper royalty. They're remember the guy the man. He is like a I don't know. He's got a prominent position. Like a consultant. Or he does something for the royal family, like
I don't know, but he's coming
I can't
in the
quite
strongest.
place. But it's a whole bunch of them, and they're just saying to you, you have a family, and we're right about this. You used to travel there. You've traveled there before.
Big family, like they're filling up my whole room.
I see like a whole bunch of cars. I see like a bunch of carriages all going to this place, right? And I think they even had to take like some kind of boat, this is a fancy deal, like a big vacation deal. And yeah, you probably have been there before. I think that your family used to go there like, you know, in a different time.
Yeah, I was in a reading somehow, in a dream I had, I was told that you will eventually go back over there to visit your living kin. And this.
But I don't think you're not going to find living kin in Monaco. You're going to find them in Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland, Wales, and Britain.
Yeah, they're like, even Wales. You're right. I'm getting Welsh. This guy's they're Welsh.
Oh, Yeah, from King Edward himself. Plantagenet and Howard and George, last names.
George sounds right.
I'm getting George. Yeah, you're getting
got
it
that
too.
too.
This guy.
Did you know that was my
see
biological last name?
He just like raised his
No,
arm
I'm getting
like that.
George.
He just
That's
raised
me.
his arm
Yep.
like that's me.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that was my last name when I was born.
Oh wow.
I'm an adoptee.
Okay, so I think he has
Well,
more
he's a
than one
George.
wife. I see more than one wife here and stuff. This is really
Don't
getting
get
weird.
into that. Don't
No,
get
I
into
see
How
like
many?
two. I think
No,
two.
I don't think
I
that's.
see two.
I don't.
And then I see
No,
some
back
a
then it was
daughter,
not common.
daughters,
It was not common to
daughters.
have a wife and a mistress back then. I'm just saying. I don't.
I'm
think
not
it was
saying
a
at the
wife, is what I'm
same
saying.
time. I'm not saying at the
Oh,
same time,
okay.
but I'm seeing them
Okay.
in his
Maybe two different
lifetime.
women. Oh, in his life. Oh,
Correct.
Okay.
In his lifetime. In his lifetime, I think he had it. There was two, and let's see. And he was not he didn't have lots of women. This is like two he was dedicated to. I think one of them died and he got married.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, he had two wives when he was alive.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I'm
what
from
you're
Queen Mary, his second wife.
Okay, so then
Oh
there.
wow.
Oh,
Queen Mary,
okay.
cool.
And she's grinning. That's cool. Okay, yeah.
He has
okay, I
dark
got it.
hair. He has
Yep.
dark hair, and it's.
He's tall. He is actually kind of tall.
He's
for the time,
he's
too.
kind of a big guy just in general. He's not.
Yeah.
He's a king. He was a king too.
But he
Well,
doesn't
then
have
that's what
that.
I'm
He
seeing for
doesn't
the
have
women.
that. He doesn't have that. Like
God,
what
that
you'd
king
think of.
egotistical.
I'm
He
not
doesn't
getting
come
that.
across. I'm not getting that egotistical sense.
You're right about
at
him.
all.
I'm not
Oh, you're
getting
right
that
about
at
that
all.
too. He had, in
Yeah,
the history.
I'm not getting
He's like a real business serious
even
man.
keel.
And
I'm getting a very earthy kind of.
he works for his
feeling from him.
country. He works
He
for his
wasn't.
country.
He wasn't erratic. He wasn't temperamental.
Wow.
He was pretty even keel kind of personality. But
I'm
he's
getting chills
he's
now.
the
I
one
got
that's
this,
coming.
yeah.
I know, me too. Stop.
You're right about his personality. In the history, it says that he was he served the country well and he unified Britain.
Yeah, I don't think he did any of that. I don't think he wasted money. I don't think he got really, I don't see glitter and gold. I see very nice.
He's
neat
very
clothes.
humble, almost kind of.
Neat,
He's got
nice
like a
clothes.
really like a noble aura, but he's coming across very strongly and very
heavy
humble.
tweed kind of jacket.
He might be the one that's most connected to you, and I'm saying
he's
that
pointing
because
and
the other
telling
ones
people.
are kind of blurred.
He's pointing. I see him pointing. He's like, okay, you're gonna go in this coach, and you're gonna go. He's organizing like we're gonna go on this long trip. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Related to me by
head.
1 degree, same last name. You're both many.
And then there's some little kids.
Wow.
There's a couple little kids running around.
I see them too. I see the
little
couple.
ones running
I see
around
two
everybody?
specifically. Yes, I see two, and they're not little, like not like. No, I think they're a little older than that though.
I see a couple of servants.
They're kind of blurry. I see him the clearest.
Oh my God.
I see a couple of servants, ladies, like a lady's maid kind of person, and they're almost part of the family. They're not. It's really hard.
He's connected to you. He's connected to you the strongest. I'll say I see kind of the other figures. They're kind of blurred, and it could be that they're just older in time.
Okay,
or something.
no,
I'm
I
not
see a
sure.
baby. Wait. The wife is showing me a baby. The baby is a relative of yours. The baby is like your great something, like a great
17th great grandfather.
Yeah,
Edward is 17th.
She's like saying that it's a long time. Like I'm seeing
700 years to be exact.
It's like this child is the one that's had it. Yeah. It really goes back because she's giving me.
It's weird how far back the history goes in this.
Every time she points, she's telling me it's a generation. It's this many generations.
We were
really
just talking
strange.
about this. How people in power. People in power are people who are enlightened or kings or just large energies like that, large auras. It's very interesting that I see him so clearly.
Right.
Well, no,
I'm saying
I see him so clearly.
He's not the kind of. He's not like you think of. He's not like like King Henry VIII and stuff. He's like a
no, he's not that. No,
I don't
he's
think
got a
you know
cool
what?
energy.
I don't even think in this scene he wants anyone to even know who he. I think he's like trying to be like a businessman and
he is
an authoritarian.
He's not wearing a crown, nothing like that at all.
But he never did when he was alive. He was out and about working.
He wants to drive. He wants to drive part of the way. That's how funny this is. It's like it's
how different. That's how he died too, fighting for his country.
I believe it because I see a sword. Wow. I see a sword. I see a sword. I see a sword.
I see what I thought was a jacket. It might have been kind of like a robe, if that makes sense. But it was red, and it was like. Was he a military leader? Was he like a
commanding officer? He was in charge of the military and the country both.
Like a
I hate to cut you guys off, but we do have to go to our second break. You guys don't go anywhere. Okay. We'll be right back right after this.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media, Late Night in the Rockies. Right now, we're joined by Mea and Cathy Savage. Ladies, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And Christopher is still chatting away.
Thank you, Tess.
It's been very interesting.
This got really, really real.
We were moving our conversation into talking about how after someone passes away, that sometimes they just seem to vanish for a while, and then sometimes you'll all of a sudden have something happen like frequently. That
it's because they're still
symbolic.
Connected to their bodies, and they haven't figured out yet a lot of things about the afterlife, like how to travel, how to visit people, how to contact people. It's like kind of like a video game. When you're leveling up and you're going into the light, we'll say we'll get going more and more into the light and more into the afterlife realm. You learn how to contact people better over whatever amount of time
what you can
it
and
takes,
can't
depending
do
on
and blah, blah.
on how advanced you were in life. I think has something to do with it. Like my mom and I feel like if we passed, because we know this, we probably wouldn't be vanished for very long, right? Because we're like, okay, I'm going to try this, but it takes a while for them to be like, okay, I'm not of the earth. I'm in this whole new place. I don't know how to move around. I don't know
it's
how
more
time
of a
works,
shock for some people than others, I think.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
But eventually,
and sometimes it depends on what they believed before they died. Like the people that have the hardest time.
Oh, wow.
A person who believes that you die and that's it sometimes has more trouble, like doing this transition. Believe it or not, because they have a block against the whole idea. So,
but those are the types that end up throwing dishes sometimes.
Right?
Yeah.
They're all frustrated.
Like
I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what's... Oh, wow. You know what's interesting? I was trying to say how I feel him. I call him Granddad when I talk to him in my dreams.
The George one? What was his first name?
Edward.
Edward. Oh yeah, I knew this. Okay, Edward George. Oh,
yeah,
I knew that.
Yeah, the king. I call him my...
he's probably been a guardian for people in your family for a long time. Like he's probably been like a family guardian, especially of the boys.
I'm going to go over there and see, and after I get the test done on my matches, I'm going to go visit my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make that my goal.
Well, I think it would be a good idea.
Do it. I would
do a little research on what they did in the summer. See if you can find a little history about that, because it might give you a hint as to where these places are too. Because I don't think this thing with Monaco was a regular thing. I think it was an event.
Yeah.
I think it was a special event, and it was a big deal. Because I see that like he's extremely particular about how everyone looks and making sure they have
it's a state visit
and the order. Yeah, something bigger than just going on a summer vacation on a beach. So
I feel inclined to say this though. In the afterlife, some people expect if someone has recently passed, and
it's
this
possible
is true for everyone,
there was a war
and you're not
problem.
hearing from them. If you're not hearing from someone that has recently passed, it's because they are in a transitional period, learning how to adapt and move on to the next level, and eventually on to whatever it is that you believe in, they believe in. I don't really know. I can't lie and say that I do. I can say that there is like there's just, that's too far out there. But when they first passed, you probably you may hear from them, but you may not for a while. And I don't know how long that time period is going to be. But then after that, typically you will get some type of a message or some type of a feeling pertaining to
and
that all is
over.
well, usually through symbolism, or you can feel them on you, or you see something that or smell roses, or see butterflies, or feel a touch on some part of your body.
This is an experience I had about roses. I've seen Grace Kelly's grave when I was 20 years old in a dream. which is only like several years after she died.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw the church.
Mm-hmm.
They put the roses around the grave, but it matches exactly what pictures of the grave during the Festival of Roses in March in that country.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've got a funny feeling about this. Can I interject for a second? Because
sure.
I think you got two things going on here. That what you're seeing there is not okay. Grace Kelly is not related into what your memory is. Your memory is that in a past life you were in a position, I think, where there was a person like her in your life, or someone you were promised to, or someone you were hoping to marry, and something didn't quite go right. And I really don't know what it was, but I think that what you've got is sort of like a hanging thread there, some kind of a memory of something that was incomplete. And whoever it was to you was beautiful, just beautiful. And I think something went wrong, and I don't know what. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. But I think something went wrong. So you've got a sort of this intrigue about it. Like it's something that interests you a lot because you feel drawn to it, or you feel drawn to her. But it's not actually her that you're drawn to. She's representing somebody that you're remembering. And
I'll probably find out.
Symbolism.
I'll probably find out when I go to Britain.
Well, I hate to cut this off, but we do have to wrap it up. We do have another caller that just called in. Is there any last words that you guys had before we let Chris go?
I just want to thank you all. It's stunning. I'm going to look for my living family, and I hope I don't have the urge to stay.
Well, you know what?
Call
back and let us. Call back and let us know what happens when I'm interested to see what happens in a few months.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. Thanks.
It's been awesome.
Have a great night.
Great night.
So
bless you all.
Nighty night. Love and light.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So we have area code 206. Who are we talking to?
Hey, ladies. This is Nikki.
Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Nikki. How are you?
I've been better.
Mom, we've spoken
dealing with
Nikki before.
Oh, hi, Nikki.
Yep.
You've been better. What's going on?
Piscean. Oh, I've had a horrible
Yes, the
headache.
Piscean.
Yes.
Yes.
Such
good energy.
What I would like to, this is awesome because that's how I feel about you guys. I love listening to the two of you.
You feel tangled right now. You feel tangled. A little bit of anxiety right now, though.
Do you spray lavender?
No.
Actually, I use a lot of lavender hand soap. So.
Okay.
But I didn't spray it. So I've got the number of things that I have anxiety over. One of them is my mom, but that's.
Okay, Nikki, you're overwhelmed. I can tell.
I can feel it.
Yeah,
right? I see tangles. I feel like I see like almost like when you have a
Lots of
knot in your hair, and
responsibility.
I'm feeling nervous energy from you, which I don't typically feel from you. It's kind of like a nervous, kind of anxious.
What's going on?
That's because of I haven't let go of that. That started this afternoon when I realized that I got a phone call from the nurse at my mom's fertility.
There you go.
And my mom's health hasn't been the greatest again. We finally got it good, and now it's not so great again. So that always, I know it's coming. I just don't know when. I kind of don't want to know, but you got those abilities, and you kind of know.
Right.
Anyway.
Yep.
Are you really close? Are you close to your mom, Nikki?
I have been, over the last number of years, and it's we had a up and down relationship, and in the last many number of years, we have been, and Chris Garcia had told me that, because I kept having dreams about my mom and the way she was coming to me. And I'm like,
Right.
it's the only way that spirits, after, when they're gone, when they're dead, they come to me in dreams. And she
What is
has
that
been
weird
coming to me
noise?
That's
Sorry.
what
Not me.
I'm wondering. That was really
No,
weird.
that was real. Okay, thank you,
It
Tess.
sounded like
okay.
a dead person going,
A gremlin.
or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, I heard it too.
That was me. I think that was my water.
I heard it too.
I think it was my water bottle.
Oh, that does not sound like a water bottle. I'm like, good Lord, what's happening? I need a sage
Sorry,
right
I
now.
think so. I picked it up, and it's one of those
Funny.
smushy ones that didn't, wasn't as quiet as I wanted
Yeah.
it to be. I'm sorry.
It makes those sounds. Yeah.
Thanks for the thrill.
Little creepy.
It's okay. Yeah.
Don't do that again.
Especially talking about this stuff.
Timing.
So, yeah, exactly. But she's been coming to me in my dreams in a very specific way in which only people that are deceased come to me. And,
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
And he had told me that that she'd been astraling. And I went, oh, crap. So that's, and she did last night again, and I'm like, ugh. Mm-hmm. So with everything that I know that's coming, I'm like, I'm having a hard time with it.
And how long have
I'm
you
feeling
been doing
it.
this?
I'm feeling your emotions.
How long have you been doing this up and down thing? Because I know how this goes. Like, because it's stressful.
Ask me that again. How long have I?
How long has your mom been sick? How long have you been doing that? Because it's an up and down thing. They're better, they're worse, they're better.
Is.
So has this been going on for a little while?
Oh boy. 2015. Actually, it started before that, only we didn't realize what was going on. Mm-hmm. But her health took a major turn in January of 2015, and then the health issues that she's having now nearly killed her in January of 2018. Mm-hmm. And
so she's tired.
Yeah, she's tired, and she wants to spend more time with me, and the way that she's doing it is in my dreams, and she's astraling to me, and the weird thing is that when people astral to me, I know that they're around. I can sense them, I can smell them, I can typically tell you what they look like because my psychic vision is different now. I don't see them like I used to, but so I can but I can describe them. I can't sense her when she's around me unless she comes to me in my dreams, and I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah, that was a new one just in the last week or so that this whole thing has been realized. But yeah, the anxiety is directly from her health situation.
Don't expect any of that to be any logical thing. It's not going, because it's sort of like I don't know how to explain it, but it's not. It's going to be like it's a whole process of transformations and stuff and adjustments, and it happens. Changes happen quick.
Yes, the changes happen quick, but that's what
happened last time.
And the place that she's in right now, I will tell you, is not typically the place, I'm sorry, but right before passing, because right before passing, it's almost like they get to this some type of a very peaceful place where they know it, and you can tell that they know it. It's like their demeanor changes almost.
Yep.
Right.
And it's almost like their higher selves.
Times,
And I'm not sure where she's at now, but I feel like she's still kind of a little bit in fight mode. Like she's very tired, but she's still fighting, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, it's up in the air as of right now. It's still, and that's what it is. It's up in the air as of right now. She's not like at that point where she's half in and half. I don't get that yet. I think she's just tired, and she's probably astraling to you a lot because she's not.
Sleeping. She isn't done. There's some more stuff.
She's not. So, she's not quite there at that point because there's you know what I'm saying, Mom. There's this weird peaceful thing that happens, and you know too, Nikki. And she's not quite there yet. She's still in fright mode, but she's tired. But she's not at that like passing phase. But that phase is the best place to be. I will just say that. I'm not saying the best place to be for a person, but I'm saying that phase is so much more comfortable. This phase, she's still very much connected to the earth and very much connected. She's not at that phase yet. So that tells me that she's not at that part of that process yet. But she is tired from fighting. I do feel like that she's tired. It just like kind of emotionally and not only physically, but emotionally.
And you know what, Nikki,
as well.
you're a person that normally you could tell the difference between these two things. But
I'm getting the feeling she's kind of bored too. Is she kind of bored?
Yes. Yes.
She's bored. I'm like, really, I just got this weird card and I got this image in my head and like she's almost waiting for something to happen. She almost doesn't care because she's like, I'm bored, right?
She wants to spend time with family.
I feel that from her. She does. She's bored.
Wants to get out of there and go spend time with family. But the thing is, Nikki, I can tell right now you're used to being able to trust your instincts and your judgment, but you're so close to your mother that because they'll call you and what you're picking up on is that the people at the hospital are nervous. So for you to know how serious it is,
that explains. You're
picking up on their anxiety.
Yeah,
because I think your gut instinct.
That's what I see. Well, you're a Pisces. You pick up. You're a water sign. You walk into a room. Not only that, you're a Pisces. Okay, Cancers and Scorpios are very lucky. They have a protective shell, right? We are sponges. So you, not only that, you will take that anxious energy from people around you. I'm not just talking about the nurses, and I'm not talking pertaining even to your mother. I'm talking about the other energies that are surrounding that place that have nothing to do with you, and you tapping in there, astraling to her and visiting her in real life, you're absorbing these other energies. Hospitals have, and any place like that has icky energies, right? Because people are scared, people are sad. It's got all this just really melancholy and anxious.
Actually a really cool side too, though, because
they
save lives.
It does, but
there is this really neat way to look at a hospital. There is.
And listen to my mother. So the next time you think that she visits you or astrals to you, think about that hopeful side. Or if you visit her in real life, think about that hopeful side and don't focus on the anxious, kind of nervous, scared, or depressing energy that's there, because there is, as my mom said, there's a very positive side to hospitals too, which is, that's where some miracles happen. That's where life happens. That's where, all kinds of things happen. I'm not sure if she's in a hospital or a hospice or where she is, but focus on the miracle side of that. Okay.
Well, she's in a memory care facility, so she's not.
So you're picking up on frustrations.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
There's a bunch of different things. And there's been a lot of changes in that facility too in the last year. So that's right. The residents are. I'm picking up on that when I walk in, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Here's what happens. They call you because they think something is a problem, but if you just pay attention, try to put most of your focus. You know your mother, and I can promise you that if she takes a turn, you're going to know it. And the thing about it is that the people at the hospital, they're not attached to your mother. They're attached to science. But my personal thing is I've been in a couple of like really close near-death experiences, and it does not matter what you see going on. It's the person and whether or not they're done with what they have to do, and whether or not they don't want to stay anymore. So I don't know how to explain it, except that
where you're going with it.
I don't feel like that's where she's at right now. But these things change quickly. You cannot know. You and nobody can know about your mom what it is that she isn't finished with or she still wants to do. But she still has that. It's like I feel like what she's thinking about mostly is she would love to see the family and hang out and have like a picnic or something. And maybe there's some people that she hasn't seen that she would like. She isn't even going there yet. And that's another sort of sign when somebody wants to start saying goodbye to people and they start pulling, to finish things up. And I don't.
And they no longer
that.
care about material things. That's
right.
when and they start giving things
it's
away.
Like I
want to
see I want to see so and so one more time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's an intuitive thing, but I also understand that, like, if she's got does she have memory problems and stuff now?
Mhm. Oh, big time. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
my mom
I
said
had a
picnic.
boss. And I'll say this really quick. I had a boss whose mother had Alzheimer's for a long time. And I'm telling you, the thing that can help you a lot with that is just to keep your sense of humor. And I mean,
Oh boy, yeah.
And sometimes
Absolutely.
sometimes it has to be a really kind of macabre sense of humor,
Which is hard for Pisces.
But the people that have,
everything.
but you are the one that has to deal with it, and whatever gets, keeps your spirits up and keeps your stress level down. I mean, I remember one time, and I don't know, I guess I can share this. Her mother forgot. She thought that you could do dishes in the toilet. And she walked in the room, and her mother, she had been sick for a long time, didn't remember who she was. I mean, she didn't even know her own daughter hardly anymore and stuff. And it was really hard, but she had a good sense of humor about it, and it got her through this she went through this for years. So, and one thing that, that's something I think you got to work hard to do, but do it, go on YouTube and find a way of looking at it that's keeps your humor up, right? Because it doesn't do anyone. That's a gift you can. Yeah, you can give that gift to yourself, and you can give it to her too, because somewhere in her she knows they know that something's wrong, and it's really hard on them. They can get crying and they can get really upset because they know they should remember something that they don't, and things like that. So, but I think you got time here, and I think that it's probably going to be stable for a little while. I see that. I don't see it.
That's what I get. And like, it's weird that she said picnic, because I had this image of her kind of going outside.
I see kids, little kids.
I don't see, I just saw this weird image of just her being like outside somewhere in sunlight or something. Maybe that's what she wants, or maybe that's what she's going to do in the future. I'm not sure. But right when you said picnic, like before that, I had already seen this, and it kind of just was like, wonder what that means, right? So
it's just a family. Well, another thing,
I know what that means too.
Well, and
what'd
another
you say?
thing.
Sorry,
little
hold on.
Kids, I know what that means.
Oh, you do?
The part where you said little kids, I know exactly what that means. Because when someone said picnic, that was the first thought I had, was her out at a very specific park. Her favorite time was spent
There you go. That's what she wants to do. The
entire family, and that included little two very special little kids.
2 kids, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what she wants, and I honestly, I don't see that being an impossibility at all. I see that being a very, very, possible. I don't never like to give very attainable thing in the future. That's what I see it as. There's something particular about that.
Now, that's her idea right now of like something that she dreams to do. She doesn't want that much. She doesn't want anything major. She wants everybody to have fun and have a picnic and be happy. Yeah. And probably she's really annoyed because sometimes in hospitals it's like, if your brain isn't quite working, it's on the fritz. Sometimes people start treating you like a child when you're not on the fritz too, and it's like it can get to be really difficult, And so when you visit her, it kind of like let me see, what's the word for it? It kind of balances her out. It's like grounds her, because she's in this world right now where it's probably a little bit confusing and it's not fun, and and nobody likes to be away from their family or alone or with a bunch of strangers who are poking at you and prodding at you, So she loves when
and
you
I
come
haven't
to.
been able. Oh,
You haven't.
believe me, I know. She
You,
cries now at times when we go to leave, and that's
yeah.
hard. That
Yeah.
I think was started about 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Do you FaceTime her at all?
Not all the time now. No, that's not a doable thing.
It's not
because of the facility. No, because of she's in a memory care facility, and they're not capable of doing stuff like that. But I think that that's a good idea. I might bring it up to management and see what they say about it.
Yeah, you can get her if she doesn't have does she have a cell phone already or no?
No, she's not She's not mentally able to be doing any of that. She's literally not.
I wonder if you could put a phone in their care, like a cheap phone that has
is
that
there
capability.
an assistant? Does she have a caseworker or a person in charge of her case, or or a
she's
candy?
Got a couple of them.
Maybe there's like a candy striper volunteer or somebody who would be able to arrange like a Skype call or something, because I think even just doing that for a couple minutes, I don't think it would throw her off. I think it would help her, even if you couldn't talk for long, or now it might confuse her too, but I kind of doubt it.
Right now, and I don't
did
ever
she use
like to give
computers?
people...
Did she use computers?
Used to. She's not capable now.
Right, but
she
used to be a phenomenal typist. She's not.
Okay, so if
not
somebody showed her a screen and you guys could do a video chat, would that confuse her, do you think?
Not necessarily, because she still has her long-term memory.
So maybe
she would know that's because that was something that was started quite a while before her memory started getting really rather wonky.
Bad.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
even if
I
she
think
could just see
that's
you.
a really good call. I like that idea.
Yeah, maybe there's
they have these phones.
A caseworker.
They have these cheaper phones that are really easy to navigate, but I know that would be difficult for her, obviously. But I feel like maybe you could put somebody in charge, leave it up at the desk and maybe just call the desk and be like, can somebody run over and FaceTime her real quick? I mean, that's something that's very,
or maybe
that they
someone
might
has
consider
one.
doing. Or
maybe
there we go. Somebody
one.
with a cell phone. There we go. One of the
Somebody
nurses or one of the front desk. I'm getting the feeling, though, I'm seeing her front desk. So I don't think I would ask necessarily one of the caretakers or nurses, but possibly just one of the front desk people with a cell phone. I don't know why I see
an
a
assistant.
front desk.
I see a nurse's aide or a candy striper or a younger, maybe a volunteer or someone doing a residency, like a student that maybe could do this for you. So I see
it being possible, though.
I do
too. Because all it would be is you would have to maybe just make some communication and some contact with somebody that works there. I mean, anyone can probably point you in the direction to somebody who would be able to do it.
Because
most
are
people
you
have
having
cell
trouble?
Phones.
You can't get over there as often as you'd like to, right?
Exactly. I've been having my own health problems, and it deals with walking, and so it's been a real huge sore subject for me to be able to not see my mom. I mean, it's like
okay,
really,
and that's what I think you need to tell them, because that's a valid reason to ask for an exception. I mean, you're allowed to visit. So if you explain to them this is how you need to visit, you need somebody.
If you're not going there, I would call the front desk. Call the front desk. You don't even have to be there. Call the front desk and say, is there anybody like a nurse on duty who would be willing to take time out?
Do a 10-minute video chat.
FaceTime. I'll give them my phone number, and maybe they'll allow you to do it again. Maybe you can get their phone number directly. But I think someone at the front desk probably be able to help you in that regard. Just knowing, if it's not one of them themselves, it would be one of the nurses or assistants or somebody else. You could call and be like, hey, this is the deal. I can't visit my mom. I miss her. I'm having health problems myself. And I would really love it if someone could just FaceTime her for me. If one of your staff would be willing to do that. And then
how far is this place from your house? Is it far?
No, drive time, it's about 20 minutes. Bus time, it's about 2 hours.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I used to be up there anywhere from 1 to 4 times a week, and then it got to be twice a week, and then once a week, and once a week for a long time, and then all of a sudden my health stuff started happening. I'm like, oh man, am I going to get back there? And so the rest of the family, they try to go up once a week, but I don't get to see her. But maybe once a month now. That's unacceptable to me. So I've been
right. So you're having trouble walking. You're having trouble walking.
Is there something with your circulatory system?
Yeah, it's lymphatic. Your lymphatic system specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's causing all kinds of lovely problems.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know a lot of people running into this where every 2 minutes.
Do you know how to do a lymphatic massage?
No, I do not.
Okay, look up lymphatic massage. I know how to do it. I obviously am not there, but I'm like, I give you one. But I learned how to do that in the school that I went to, and it's really, really does work. I've always had trouble with my lymph nodes. Ask my mother, and I learned how to do lymphatic massage in school, and it's very, very interesting. There's lymph nodes all over. It's not just like in your neck. There's lymph nodes in your face, obviously, and it's very, very light touch circulatory motions. You can start with just going downwards in a circular motion, like on your neck. And I know this is totally not in this is off of track or whatever. But it's extremely light, like circulatory motions over your lymphatic system, over your nodes, and kind of a downward. And then you kind of push, like after you're done, kind of push the fluid down, and drink a ton of water. That does help. With that, depending if it's in your leg area, there's obviously the ones like on the side of your hip that you can do the same thing for. Those are a little more tricky because they feel like, I don't know why, they're just a little bit more tricky to release, but I just felt like I should say that.
Well, that's a good idea.
I'm glad you did. That has to do with what's going on too, because what I've noticed is that when I do a large amount of walking, I have the hip bursitis kick in big time, and then I am screwed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is BS, because I have plans for my life, and not laying down and constantly having my legs. This is BS. I want to be doing things.
It's weird. I'm like,
so you can't stand
legs,
for a long
time. I'm seeing
Not
the top
anymore.
of legs like a blue color. This is really weird. That's why I asked if it was like
circulation.
Circulatory. I don't know. I just saw this image in my head, and I'm not sure. It was like pretty clear, so I don't know.
So a hip problem is causing circulation problems. Is that right?
No, it's
Basically.
Lymphatic that's actually causing problems. I just had a couple of years ago. They finally figured out what was going on, and it's a bursitis on one side, and it's the flexor muscle on the other side. So if I get one that kicks in, then it kicks the other one in shortly thereafter, because you start favoring the hip that's not hurting when you're walking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm used to being able to work out and do stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I know they want me doing that, but it makes it a little tough when you have a hard time doing it.
So you have trouble with the walking in when you go to visit your mom, and the standing and all that? That's what happens?
Yep.
It's too painful? Yep. And could you get a wheelchair? Could you ask them to
not
bring?
going that route yet.
Yeah.
I
She's
can
like,
for
I'm not
her. I
ready.
can for her, but
Oh,
I'm not
I
doing
know,
it for
I
me.
know, I know. But
Tess, are you still there?
I'm
Okay,
thinking you're
cool.
I
gonna.
am
I'm
still
thinking.
here.
I'm sorry. Well,
You're
I'm
being
thinking that
so quiet.
you're gonna like maybe be in this situation for a little while. So, um, start from there and then see if you can find a better solution, because here's the twist. It may be like painful to visit her, but the stress of not visiting her is is a little too much too. I can see it.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going enough, and that's bothering you almost as much as
You're getting that
the other
separation
problem.
anxiety kind of
Yeah.
feeling because you're like
Yep.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like a static. And when I first started talking to you, it was very interesting because normally you have a very calming energy, and then I'm like,
Yep.
why is she like coming through kind of static feeling, like kind of like I don't know.
Well,
You can just feel like the
I'm gonna
energy.
picture a solution to this. I'm gonna picture you being able to go visit her like on a regular basis and it working out. So try to keep that picture in your head and let's see what
Okay.
happens. Just keep forcing your mind.
Are you able
seeing
to
it.
call her often? Do you call her often?
She can't.
It's not, it doesn't work like that for, I mean,
Okay.
I could, but that gets interesting.
Yeah.
That's too lengthy
Yeah.
to explain, but, there's a lot of things that, you're helping me pop things into my head, and with the things that
Trying
you're
to get the
talking about, it's
creative
also popping
juices.
stuff.
Perfect.
Exactly. And that's what it comes
Perfect.
down to.
Right.
My original question, though, revolves around.
Rewind.
Yep. I've had a lot of spirits in and out. I've been working on a case, and I don't really want to get into the case and I do have questions that I want to ask you privately about that, because there's things that are coming up that
Sure.
I could use some advice on. However, besides that, but with spirits coming in and out to talk to me or to provide me with information, what do you sense or see or feel that is in my apartment on a regular basis? And that could mean spirit to anything else that is visiting or deciding to stay or has stayed. Something that I may not be, well, I can't say something that I'm not picking up, because I'm picking up a lot of different things. But I want to hear from you guys what you may be picking up on.
Okay, I got you. Well, first of all, I'm going to say right away, if
don't do it.
if you are working with spirits regularly like that you shouldn't. I know that it's for other people, but it's not a bad thing to ask for them to help you too. So if and they don't mind usually. So
she's talking about something that's an unwelcome guest. I can feel
I know.
it.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
I got that. You got something floating in and out. I got that.
I don't have any necessarily images, but I'm feeling it.
I got an image. I got an image of
sense?
I got an image of a man that's coming into your situation and just hanging out. And I don't know who this is.
I have this. I was going to say I do see the image of a man, but I'm not sure if that's the same thing that I'm feeling. I'm feeling.
This is not someone related to you either. He's related to somebody else that you're working with. And I don't like it very much.
He's an older gentleman, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's probably I see him too. He's kind of a larger gentleman. He's an older gentleman. I see kind of like.
Yeah, he's a little creepy, actually. I'm not saying bad, but he I don't know.
Are you talking about 6 foot?
Yeah. He's a tall man. He sits on your couch and he just watches you, and
I'll say
attached.
he looks like he's in his late 50s, 60s. I'm guessing as far as age goes. I'm not sure about height. He looks like a larger gentleman.
He's kind of.
Does he remind you of any famous caricature in Harry Potter?
Yes, he looks like freaking like a Dumbledore, not Dumbledore, the hair, the giant guy with the curly hair. Hagrid, yes, kind of, but he has like kind of like a grayish curly hair. He kind of, that's what he looks like to me, Hagrid, like kind of, but older than that, I will say. No, I
don't get that at all. I get that guy that's
okay. So Kathy, what do you get?
I get the guy that. Let me think for a minute. He's the teacher that tries to help them out that turns into a werewolf.
Oh,
okay. That's way deep into that. I don't know enough about Harry Potter.
That's a funny question.
Harry
I really wasn't seeing that like that at all. I'm thinking of him as a
you got it.
I think he's someone's father. I think he is someone's father.
We need to get out of Colorado, huh? Just kidding.
But you know what? You got something. No, you got something else running in and out of your apartment or your house.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering.
I'm feeling an energy,
no.
but I don't see anything. And then I see a man. I see two different things, but I can't figure out if they're one. Don't say it, Mom.
No.
Stop.
Okay.
Don't say that. You can't say that.
You're taking away all my good dreams.
Goodness. What did you do?
Mom, stop. I'm out of here.
Okay, listen.
Where did you go? Where did you went somewhere? This is not, where, what? Okay.
There was a situation where somebody had asked me for my help.
Yeah.
This year. And I
crap.
went deep and I got the information. I went into meditation and I got the information and I was immediately attacked. Now what I'm hoping is that
because what I feel is that thing that we don't speak of, and I see it.
Yeah,
I don't see an actual figure. I don't see an actual.
Okay, hold on. Let her talk. Hold on.
Is he hanging in the apartment or outside of the apartment? I should say it. But that's
it.
I get a little defensive if it's this thing because this thing pisses me off.
Okay, here's what I want you to do.
Here's
what I want you to do. This is going to sound really strange. This is what I want you to do. I want you to. Do you have a couch, right, in your living room?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A short one, but yeah.
Okay. Does it have room underneath it? Is it one that stands on legs, and has room underneath it?
Nope.
Okay, hold on a minute because there's
a couple, maybe that changes.
Damn it! I'm getting Okay, this is not what. Okay,
so when I've done a reading for people before, I've had
give me a little time because what this looks like is not exactly what it is. It's one of those things.
Shapeshifter?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's
kind of like a parasite type situation.
I'm getting a picture of a round, large, not large, probably the height of a child, like a round blob of kind of confused and messed up energy. Sort of like something that's between transformations.
It's not really
or something.
An entity. It's not really like an entity.
See it trying.
It's like a ball of energy.
It's trying to turn into an animal. And I keep seeing it trying to, but it can't. And it is not a good thing when I don't like to see things like this because I don't trust it. You might think it's not that big of a thing, and you might think, okay, it's just a little bit of nonsense, but it might be a little bit worse than that. So I see it coming in your
oil. Sage oil.
I'm seeing
put
definitely
sage oil and salt
in the corners,
all over your freaking corners of everything.
In the corners,
definitely sage oil on your bed,
especially near your couch, especially near your couch,
your bed,
and near your front door. And then
were you
and then
on your couch talking to this person that it might have been connected to?
It came in your front door. It came in your front door. You need to first do the safe
How long
thing,
has it
and
been
then
here? Has it followed me, or is it part of the building or
It's
apartment?
connected to someone. I think it's connected to someone you talked to.
It was.
That's what I think.
Okay,
you said you were reading for someone.
I see that you talked to someone and you were fine, and then you went back and talked to them, and it followed you back. Did you talk to someone twice?
Yep.
And then it may have followed you back to the person again, but it's you can take it back to the person because it'll go, but I don't know if it'll stay because for some reason the other person may have done something to chase it off. And okay, you need to get it gone. So what I would do is good Lord. Because, when you're not in great health, sometimes this crap just makes it it's harder.
Make it worse.
Okay.
Well, I blew it out of here one time.
I would actually, do you know who it might have come from? Because I see standing outside in a driveway talking to this person. Like outside somewhere.
I don't think so.
No, this was an online thing.
A high school, is there a boy? Someone with a high school son, maybe? I don't know. I might have.
You're picking
that
up
wrong.
on. She has a lot of stuff running. No.
Yeah.
I think she talked to someone and she did a reading. And this has happened to me.
It came from a place. It came from a place. It was locked into.
But it came from a person.
Home. Yeah.
But it came from a. Oh.
A home.
If it's what I think. If it's what I think we're all three talking about, it came from the person that I talked with who was in the process. Well, you're on the right track. And they were working with a family, and it was attacking this family.
Yeah, because it's location. This isn't that you got in.
It tried to present itself to me as a demon, and I went, I can't say what I said on air, but I said, you're full of and that's there's no way that you're that. So you better leave me alone because if you're not, I'm going to, and I can blow you out. So
I don't get that kind of.
It wasn't.
Like
it's not
clout
that.
from it.
No.
It's
not that. So we're talking about.
It's more like it's more like one
like
of those
parasitic things that we're talking about. But there's a stage, and Tessa and I were talking about this. There's a stage where it looks like a blob, right? There's a stage where it looks like a blob, and then it has different types of forms. So right now it's a blob. I don't know where it came from. All I know is I felt it. I can't tell you.
I keep seeing it's trying to take a shape. It keeps trying to take an animal, like a cat shape. It keeps seeing like a face, like an animal face, and it can't manage it. So if it can't manage that, I think that you're all right. But it's not it doesn't have this. It's not I don't know how to say this. It's really.
I see it as
stuck.
like a dark cloud of
it's
like
really
energy.
Stuck, like not.
It's like an energy
cannot
ball.
Move that easily. It's not something that can move around that much. Like it could sit in a corner forever. I don't know how it managed to. Yeah.
That explains some stuff from the other night. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know how that slipped by you because you usually probably
for a long time.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't think it really would do anything that much. It's just that it doesn't feel good, and it's got this little bit of something that I don't like. Maybe like I think it's a something from the past that did a ritual somewhere and it got screwed up. Like something went wrong. And it could have been like one of those like old, like a peyote ritual or something, and the person died or something. It just didn't work. Something didn't go right. Because I think I think it's native. I think it might be a native spirit. And
I don't think it's a spirit. I think it's just a negative ball of energy. I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't. It does. All I know is I feel.
Yeah,
it.
I don't get that. I don't get that much I don't get that much consciousness out of it.
Consciousness, yes.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
But when I've done readings for people,
what I don't like about it is I can see that it can get bigger. It can get bigger and smaller, and that's what I don't like.
Fed with negative emotions.
And if it could get big enough to overwhelm a room and make everybody in it feel really bad. That's what I can see. So,
it's not there yet. Though. I don't see it at all.
It's not that big now. It's not.
It's a blob.
Blow out?
Ghostbusters.
Is it
another thing. I'm not kidding about this. Sometimes things that are stagnant, all you really got to do is break it up. Like, I mean, this sounds really funny, but like, I used to take like bells or drum and walk around and move, because sometimes when something is kind of like cobwebby, yeah, you can actually break it up. So
like feng shui types.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
Move the energies around.
I don't
kind of just clap in the air.
It's not usually something I do with like an entity though. It's more like if you got a room that's the energy's just it's too still, But you can try that. But I would try the sage thing, and I would actually get another person to do it with you. And I'm only saying that because of your health.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't take everything out of you to try to because when you do that whole clearing thing, it takes energy too, and I think
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'd have somebody.
It's weird. I'm feeling a little bit drained just talking about it. It's kind of like
yeah.
It's kind of it's exhausting. Have you been tired lately?
I wouldn't be scared.
Yeah, I have been.
This is
I've
not.
been a lot more tired than
Yeah, this is not scary as much as it's going to make you sluggish and feel worse. It could affect your health.
Well, ladies, really we're at the end of our time. We can continue this at the after party. But can you tell our listeners how they can contact you if they have any questions or if they missed out on getting their reading this evening?
Yes, absolutely. I have an email, which is wisefoolstarot@gmail.com, and also through Tess or Facebook.
And I'll just go with that. I'll just go with that. So just wisefoolstarot.
Yes, my mother uses wisefoolstarot@gmail.com.
I don't have an established website. I'm still deciding what I would like to do with it if I did.
Right. Well, I'm so grateful that
we don't typically do this for parties.
Right. Well, I'm so grateful you guys came in and we actually got to do a show. I know the last couple times we had some different issues, but I'm so glad you guys made it tonight, and I hope to have you guys back on sometime.
Well, thank you so much, Tess.
Thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Totally enjoyed ourselves.
To infinity and
thanks
beyond.
Thanks to your listeners too. It's really nice.
Yes.
I hope we can get more calls too.
We love it.
And thank you to all of our listeners for listening at We Are Paradox Media, Late Night in the Rockies. And if you guys would like to come in and join us for our after party, the number is 1-970-335-9596, or you can find me at Tessa Thomas-Peterson on Skype. Nighty night, love and light, and take care of my yous.